day to you, and welcome. It is day 2 on our second day. The golf tournament here in Rice Lake at Turtleback Golf Course is going to be getting underway here in about an hour. Last night was simply fantastic. All the stories and all the celebrities and everybody that came by and shared some things, and all the stuff that we can't talk about on the air was fantastic as always. But I'll give you a little insight coming up a little bit later on today. But we're here for the Rice Lake Celebrity Golf Outing and the charity golf outing that helps so many charities here in the area, up in the Barron County area. So that's the reason we're here today. Joining us here at the table, and I feel like this is a reunion because it's been so long since you and I have been together, the voice of the Green Bay Packers, Wayne Laravey. How you been, my friend?
Good.
I feel like we should hug.
Yeah, you're right. Even during COVID. No, you and I came into the Milwaukee market the same year in 1999.
People do not realize you and I went through the orientation together.
Yeah. And, so we've known each other since then. Been a long way.
Think about when we came in, it was you and I. Bo Ryan had taken over UWM.
Yep.
Tom Crean took over Marquette.
Yeah.
Ray Rhodes took over the Green Bay Packers. I mean, there was so much change going on at the time.
Yeah, it really was. And, but, it's been great. We've had a great run. The Packers have had an incredible run of sustained success, and it's fun when you're in a market where you're covering teams that are relevant. You know what I mean?
Right.
And even today, obviously, the Bucks are very relevant, and so are the Brewers and the Packers, obviously, at the top of the news with the Aaron Rodgers situation. But it's nice to be able to do that, to cover teams that are relevant.
So we'll dive in. You brought up Aaron. A lot of talk last night. It seems like that's on the front of everybody's tongue, even if you're a former Packer, former Viking, whatever. I keep asking the question, what is the end game here? And no one seems to know.
Yeah, I cannot embellish any more than what you just said. There are a lot of opinions on this. There's a lot of reporting going on, some of which is not good reporting, but there's some credible people. Charles Robinson, Adam Schefter, there are some really good people who've been on top of this story, but no one's really gotten at the crux of exactly what this is. And the more you look at it from the outside in, you think, well, maybe it's a compilation, as everybody seems to be alluding to, but nobody is talking specifics, not the Packers and not Aaron Rodgers. So until we get specifics, it's hard to get a handle on. We have all got hopes, and it's certainly hopes, but everybody's got an opinion on it, but nobody really knows the basic.
One of the things that you and I talked about last night was legacy, and I'm only going to give you my perspective, and you can expound upon it as much as you want. But early on, Aaron Rodgers, in an interview that I did with him, he said that eventually he wants to be the most decorated quarterback in Green Bay Packer history. He wants to have as many Super Bowls, either as Bart Starr or more, and this was early on. And obviously wants to be, because if he wins 2, he's got more than Brett Favre. And then obviously he wanted to be statistically as good as any quarterback that's ever played the game. But he wants to do it with, he's always fought to remain with the Green Bay Packers up until this point. If it ends up being an exodus, I got to think to myself that at some point, something in his mind has said, I don't care about my legacy in Green Bay. I care about X. And I don't, this is, unless he comes back, the overall picture, money, contracts, all that other crap, whoever they drafted, it doesn't matter. This is the end of your legacy. And I can't imagine that this is what he wants.
Yeah. And you and I talked about this, and I mean, that's kind of the point that, and I know Aaron pretty well, and I covered I was doing the telecast for his first start as a collegiate at Cal, and they were playing down at Illinois, and he was terrific. But so I've known him really since then, since the draft. We got to know each other after the draft, and I mentioned that story to him, and we've been, we talk every week usually during the regular season, and he's a highly principled individual. He reminds me so much of my youngest son. There's a moral compass to some people that is much greater than anything you and I or anyone else is really. And in that regard, there's a depth to them, to people like that, that is really admirable on one hand. But on the other hand, it's hard for the rest of us to kind of live up to that standard sometimes. But, with Aaron, that's the thing, legacy. All the money in the world. You can argue he's the greatest pure quarterback, that the game has seen. And everyone will say, well, he doesn't have the Super Bowls. Well, give him Tom Brady's defenses over the years, and he'll have just as many Super Bowl wins as Tom Brady, and probably wouldn't have lost those 2 games to the Giants that Brady did in the Super Bowl. All right, so that's not been the case. When he's had good defenses, Aaron Rodgers has been great. But, that's the thing. You sit there and say, okay, Brett Favre, as beloved as he is, Bill, and as many people have, forgiven the divorce and all that other stuff that happened in 2008, that's always going to be a part of his legacy, okay? That kind of forcing his way out of Green Bay, that type of thing. If you're Aaron Rodgers, gosh, I would think you don't want that on your legacy. You just don't.
Yeah.
That's not the way. That's not what you want. I don't think it shouldn't be what you want. And I would hope that when it gets down to the end here, that Aaron says, "Hey, listen, my legacy and what I'm doing in Green Bay is more important." He comes back to the Packers. I'm telling you, I don't know who's going to beat him out in the next several years. You know what I mean?
Right.
And I understand the timetable and the rookie quarterback, the second-year quarterback now, and poor Jordan Love, he's asked for none of this.
Yeah.
And so I think that but Aaron Rodgers, if he comes back, he can script his end point in Green Bay. I think he can, because I don't think anyone's going to beat him out in the near future, and I don't think the coaching staff or the front office will, make the decision, well, it's just time for Jordan Love. So as good as Aaron Rodgers is, we're going in that direction.
Right.
I don't think that's going to happen. I really don't. If Aaron comes back, I think he gets a call and a shot down the stretch in the way he wants to end his career. But obviously, when you look at it from the outside looking in, including a friend of ours, Andrew Brandt, has always maintained they're going to trade him after this coming season anyway. And I don't think that's I don't buy that. I don't see that happening.
The rest of the team sits and waits. We're going to hear from Harry Sidney later on today, and he and I were talking, and he had said, "Look, if I'm a guy in that locker room, you go do your own business." But eventually you look at it as, Aaron, you give me my best shot to win, to get to a Super Bowl, and you give me my legacy, you give me my money. So this is this is starting to affect other guys. So this team, as we talked about last night, is probably is as ready to win as we have seen in a long time, because they filled a lot of holes and a lot of pieces are ready to go.
Which doesn't mean they're going to win, even with Aaron coming back. Okay, because we're talking here, folks, on paper. Until we snap the football, that second weekend in September, that's when we go from paper to what's reality.
Yeah.
And things change. Injuries happen. All kinds of things change to change the complexion of a team and a season. But on paper, I will tell you this, I was up last week for 3 days at the mini camp, and you kept looking at the position groups, and you kept saying, wow, they got a lot of competition there, even at inside linebacker, considered to be not one of the stronger positions on defense. Bring in Devondre Campbell. Is he a Pro Bowler? No, but he's pretty darn good and a heck of a veteran player in the mix with those 2 young linebackers, Chris Barnes, Kamal Martin. Martin stays healthy. Bill, he's a player. If he stays healthy, not been healthy. Okay, understand that. But and the secondary's good. This defense is and if Kingsley Keke takes another step up, that defensive line, if Kenny Clark stays healthy, is good enough to get it done. That defense could be very good. Offensively, if your guy from Ohio State, Josh Myers, can play center, can start at center, that offensive line is one of the top 5 in the league, period. And that's with David Bakhtiari coming back. But the versatility they have in that room is just amazing. And the coaching staff has been outstanding. Matt has a good young coaching staff that, and I know Aaron loves playing for these guys, but I hope in the end that's what it is.
I got to think at some point or another, somebody's going to call him and say, "Hey, dude, no matter what's, I guess, and it's been talked about so much, is what allows you to come down off of the mountain and save face?
Yeah,
either side.
I wonder.
Yeah.
That's the thing you wonder about. And there's a lot of face to be saved here because this is such a public situation now. If this had been happening behind the scenes, that's a different story. But now you've got the pressure of everyone watching this.
Yeah.
And so, there is some pressure on both sides. How do we resolve this thing one way or the other?
I wanted to ask you, the Bears pick up Justin Fields. I'm on record saying I'm not a huge Justin Fields fan. I think he takes too long to deliver the football. In the NFL, we know how fast windows close, but he's mobile. He's got a young arm. He gets a year behind Andy Dalton. Give me your thoughts on what the Bears have done as far as their drafts and their personnel moves.
You know, it's interesting the way that draft unfolded because in the last 2 weeks before that draft, I mean, Fields' stock was plummeting like a rock through water. But I think really going in, he probably was arguably the second best or maybe third best quarterback prospect in that draft. So, you know, the thing we don't know about quarterbacks, including Justin Love, and you know, Jordan Love rather, and when you put a quarterback behind center, you don't know about him until he takes a snap in a regular season game. Don't tell me about preseason. Don't tell me about camps and training camp and scrimmages and mini camp and all that stuff. You don't know about a quarterback till he's taking a snap behind the line of scrimmage against a defense that is schemed to stop him. How does he process all that information he sees at the snap of the ball? Aaron Rodgers might be arguably the best to do that, and Tom Brady has a tremendous feel for that. Most quarterbacks don't, Bill, and I don't care if they're drafted first in the draft. We've seen many bust as first pick quarterbacks in the draft. People, you know, Jared Goff has gotten paid. Carson Wentz got paid as franchise quarterbacks, and they aren't even close to being franchise quarterbacks because that process that you have to have in your brain, that a friend of mine calls it quick twitch athletic brain.
Yeah.
They don't have it. And few people do. Aaron Rodgers has that. Tom Brady has that. Russell Wilson has that in abundance. Patrick Mahomes. And you know, probably the Watson kid down in Houston if he ever plays again.
Yeah.
But, you know, those are the only quarterbacks that really have that.
Yeah.
And we don't know if Justin Fields has that. And that's why we won't know. All the physical ability, sure. And Jordan Love has excellent tools physically. That's why they were picked in the first round.
Right.
But the last part of that equation for a quarterback is the one you don't know about until you say, he's our starter. Here we go. September 1st, take a snap against the Vikings who are scheming to stop you, and can you process what you see?
Well, you talk about a guy that thanks God that Aaron Rodgers' story became the headline because Deshaun Watson was the headline for a long period of time, and that all of a sudden just went away.
I know, yeah, and it's still there.
Yeah.
And, you know, that's an awful situation when you think about it. If it's all true,
Right.
we don't know if it is or not, but that'll be hashed out in court. But now, what do you do if you're Houston?
Yeah.
I mean, you know,
that's Bill O'Brien just tore that whole organization apart in many different ways.
He, especially the last 2 years of his tenure, Bill, he took the people they traded could make up an all-pro team,
right?
You know, so yeah, it's. But hey, I will say this about the Packers, and you're exactly right. I think they're on the cusp of really having an excellent team put together.
Yeah.
But you know, that's on paper. And they need the quarterback to play. They need number 12 to come back and play, and in order for them to reach their potential. But this is a good Packers football team, not quite as deep, obviously, as 2011, but in that neighborhood.
Yeah.
And people think I'm crazy, but this team has some ability to it and a lot of competition.
As James Jones has stated that this is, quote, fixable between Aaron and the organization. So I'll hedge your bets, and I will say Wayne Laravey and Larry McCarron are in the booth the second weekend in September. And as you begin to call the play, are you saying number 12 or are you saying the Jordan Love begins?
Yeah.
Your thoughts?
I think I'm going to be optimistic about this, and I always hate it when I'm optimistic because I'm usually wrong. Because I'm such a realist.
You and I are swimming upstream, my friend.
I am such a realist. My wife says, "No, you're not a realist. You're a negative person." So, but no, I think he will be. I think when it's all said and done, there's just too much here for between Aaron, his coaches, his teammates. You know, front offices come and go. Your legacy is forever.
Yeah.
And, you know, I think that in the end, hopefully that'll be what it's all about. And I don't think this thing is about money, and I don't think it's about any one person, and it's not about any one thing, which makes it hard to figure out. And the fact is they've been trying to get this resolved for months now, and the fact that it hasn't been is the only area where I have some doubt.
Well, now that you are Wayne Laravey, Green Bay Packer Enterprises voice of and all that kind of stuff, and I don't have tags alongside, I'm going to get you on a lot more. I'm going to call you and bug you, and our guy Mike Clemens is going to bug you.
You got my guy Mike Clemens on, and he's as good as it gets.
Yeah.
And there are a lot of great people that cover the Green Bay Packers, and trust me, he's one of them. So I know he's on your team, but one of the most credible and thought-provoking reporters on that beat.
Don't you just to love to sit? You were telling me you guys went and got some pizza and a beer.
Oh, yeah.
Isn't it just one of the most fascinating conversations you could possibly
Yeah,
have?
absolutely. We go to Sammy's. We get a large Sammy's special and a pitcher of Miller Lite and go to work. That's a good
That's
night.
a night right there. There you go. Wayne Laravey, the voice of the Green Bay Packers, joining us up here. We're going to go ahead and take a quick break. We got more of the Bill Michaels Show coming up next.
Ready? This is the Bill Michaels Show on the Wisconsin Sports Zone Radio Network.
Bill Michaels will resume in 3 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 2 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 1 minute. Bill Michaels will resume in 30 seconds.
Oh, man, what a beautiful day. I don't think you can get much nicer.
Yeah. That's a good thing to breathe.
Yep, that too. Here we go. Welcome back to the program, the Bill Michaels Show. We are broadcasting live at Turtleback Golf Course. We are in Rice Lake. It's a celebrity golf classic, and it raises all kinds of money for charity up here in the Barron County area, and we're glad to be a part of it. Thanks to Tom Kozer and his group and his radio station cluster up here. And they do such an incredible job at putting this thing on each and every year and bringing in many of the celebrities. Like you just heard Wayne Laravey, the voice of the Packers, joining us a little bit earlier. We got Dave Robinson coming up, Harry Sidney coming up a little bit later on today. But joining us now here at the table, the original number 12, as we shall say, as Wayne Laravey gave you all kind of crap last night. We've got Lynn Dickey here with us. How you been?
Pretty good, Bill. How are you?
Yeah, I'm doing okay.
Yeah,
We're all still
deal.
kicking. This is kind of like, I think you had said it last night. We were sitting there at the bar talking that this is because of COVID last year and a very weird year. This is not just a golf outing. This is like a reunion.
This is really the first outing, where for a year and a half been able to get together and see all the guys again. And, I miss them. You miss hearing the old stories and just I miss seeing my old guys
Yeah.
that I played with, and aren't many handshakes, lots of hugs.
Right. I was going to say it's as if last night COVID never existed. There was a
No.
lot of hugs last night.
It was
Yeah.
a good deal.
So obviously you get asked about a lot of different things regarding the Green Bay Packers. I'm going to walk away from the Aaron Rodgers stuff for just a minute, but go back to last year and the talent this team had, and you sit there and you watch and you go, fourth down, why didn't you go for it? You can look at things and say interception, fumble. They were a really good team that kind of committed their own mistakes and cost themselves a championship or at least a good shot at it.
I look at that situation, and I heard Aaron Rodgers talk about it also, and I felt the same thing at the time. The communication between he and the coach,
Yeah.
they weren't on the same page. And by that I mean, if Aaron knew that we're going to go for this,
Yeah.
he would have. He almost threw a couple of passes wide and made sure there was no turnover. Thinking, when you do that, you're probably thinking field goal.
Right.
If it's there, fine, throw it in there. But if it's not, you got to throw it away. Don't take a chance. Got to come away with points. But Matt LaFleur, he's thinking about field goal maybe. But if Aaron knew that they were going to go for it, he would end up going for it in a fourth and maybe goal from the 2 or 3.
Right.
That's a whole new world. Then from the 8,
Yeah.
The fourth and goal from the 8 is very difficult.
Yeah.
I personally would have done the same thing. I'd have kicked a field goal from the 8-yard line and tried to get the ball back. And sometimes you get it back, sometimes you don't. But the odds are in your favor. They're not, I should say, the odds are way against you to make that fourth down from the 8-yard line.
Yeah. Then, as a guy that's played the position, a guy that's been through many different regimes, so to speak, like you said last night, I could never imagine going to Bart and saying, "Hey, Bart, I've got an issue with the organization. I'm not coming back, and it's not about money."
Yeah.
But you tell me, give me your thoughts on what's transpired. And everybody sits back in their living room and watches what's going on, and the headlines pop up, and you say, "What the hell?"
Well, we've seen this rodeo, about 15 years ago or 14, 13, whatever it was when Brett Favre was leaving, and he was a little miffed. I think he was miffed more of at Ted Thompson, the GM at that time, over Randy Moss, and Randy Moss was at Oakland.
Mm-hmm.
And Brett wanted him to come into the Packers. I don't think Ted and the staff felt like that was going to be a good mesh in the city of Green Bay.
Yeah.
With Randy, when he'd had some Henry past there, and but obviously he went to New England, and everything worked out very well for him and the Patriots because he played really, really well. But that decision, I think, really upset Brett Favre.
Mm-hmm.
And, again, it's a personnel decision. Your job as a player is to go play.
Yeah.
You don't get to make personnel decisions. You as a player and all the guys in the locker room, do you all know exactly what's going on? Absolutely. You know exactly what's going on. You just don't say anything.
Yeah.
That's not my job. But am I upset about it? Yeah. I was upset when they took Rich Campbell with the 6th pick in the first round, and I think 81, only because we needed so many other things. We had a pretty good offensive team, and we were building and getting better every year, and Bart was becoming a better coach. And then, all the holes that we could have filled, which is the same thing that happened taking Jordan Love a year ago. There were they could have taken a lot of receivers that they needed, or another pass rusher, or another offensive lineman, some guys that you really needed to help your football team and complete it, but they didn't do that. So now they didn't get anything out of that class. Now, when you're an older quarterback and you're looking for all the pieces and what are you trying to do?
Right.
Trying to win a championship.
Yeah.
And, you're telling me you're building for the future. It didn't. That pick did not make any sense to me whatsoever, but still, that's what the club decided to do, and you go play, which Aaron did last year, had an MVP season. But I just can't imagine coming out in the media and saying something against a decision by management. I would never ever do something like that.
Talking with Lynn Dickey, I wanted to ask you because you guys didn't have like a GM at the time, right?
Correct.
When you were playing,
Yeah.
so it was Bart, and that was kind of your brain trust. And when you couldn't go to somebody, I mean, Bart was your head coach too, so it wasn't like you could go to a general manager going, "What are you doing?"
Yeah.
Or say, "Hey, can you at least talk to me?" Or can you, because I know Brett had said, "Hey, Ron Wolf used to come down weekly and just kind of shoot the stuff with him." And it wasn't necessarily about personnel moves, but it got the pulse of the team, and Brett felt like he had a little bit of a say.
That's
Aaron,
part of Ron Wolf's job was
Yeah.
to pick your brain a little bit.
Yeah, and
if
I don't think Aaron feels like he's getting that. And he's certainly not getting the respect that Tom Brady got when it came to go, "Hey, look at all the receivers we're thinking about taking in the draft and see if you're on the same page with the scouts."
Well, still, it doesn't matter who you're talking about. Your job is to go play.
Yeah.
Big difference in Brady leaving Patriots and going to Tampa. His contract was out.
Right.
Aaron's got 2 years to go on his contract.
Yeah.
And if he doesn't want to play, I would bet lots of money that he's just going to sit there, because at turning 38 this year, there aren't many people going to come give you 2 1s and 2 2s.
Yeah.
And deplete their whole team for maybe 1 or 2 years out of the quarterback. If he were 26 or 7, that's a different deal. But he's not. And would he help any team? Absolutely. No denying. I think he's right there at 1-2 in the league with Patrick Mahomes.
Yeah.
I don't know. I just shake my head, and lots of people, of course, ask me about this situation, and I go, I don't know. I would never have the nerve or the gall to question any management decision.
Yeah.
I just would never do it.
How's our buddy Lyle doing? You talked to Lyle out in Johnson Creek? J&L Tire Service out there?
He's a dandy.
He's a great guy.
He's a real dandy guy. He scares me. He works too much.
Yeah.
He gets up. He probably gets in his 4 or 5 hours of sleep. Gets to the office at 3 or 4 in the morning, and I'm going, dude, slow down. But he's doing great.
That's great. So how you hitting them? You playing? Have you played a lot of golf?
Yeah, I get out probably Fridays and Saturdays.
Okay.
Most every week, and in the evenings I go over and practice a little bit.
Yeah.
I can't stand there and hit pound balls like I used to.
Right.
My back gets too tight. But I love it. It's my only means of competitiveness anymore. So I really enjoy it, and it's, thank goodness I picked it up years ago, that something I can do competitively.
Right.
Later in my life.
Yeah. Oh, good
72
for you, man.
this year, Billy.
Good. Really?
Yeah.
God.
Yeah.
How about that?
I do that every morning. I look in the mirror. Yeah. Are you really?
I look in the morning and say, I woke up. I'm happy about that.
Yeah, there's a good start.
Enjoy it, my friend. Great
right,
to see you again, as always. You
Good
look
to see
great,
you.
and we'll talk to you soon, okay?
Thank you much.
There you go. Lynn Dickey. We'll be back right after this.
This is the Bill Michaels Show on the Wisconsin Sports Zone Radio Network.
Bill Michaels will resume in 5 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 4 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 3 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 2 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 1 minute.
You gotta have something. Yeah.
Bill Michaels will resume in 30 seconds.
Okay. There we go. Rain and cold, but today I don't think it gets much better than this. Joining us up here on the deck outside of the bar here at Turtleback is our good friend Dick Leinenkugel. And how you been, man?
Bill, there's not another place I'd like to be in the world except Chippewa Falls, Wisconsin. But when you mentioned bar, outside of bar, that's a good place to be.
That's a good place to be.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's a good place to be.
And what a great event up here. Just fabulous. Tom Kozer and
How
his
did you
team.
guys get involved in this, by
Well,
the way?
it went back to my brother Jake and our distributor at the time, Mike Gorst.
Okay.
Headed up the Barron operation. And Mike got us involved in it. He knew Tom, of course, from his radio station. So asked if we would get involved as a sponsor and bring a beer wagon, and
Yeah.
we're happy to do it. So we've been involved ever since. And when Jake retired, I became a celebrity.
What is Jake doing now?
Well, he's enjoying life. He's in Arizona for half the year, and probably right now he's throwing a muskie rod or kayaking on Lake Wissota.
Okay.
With a muskie rod.
Beautiful area too. Beautiful area up there.
It is.
I've always said one of my favorite places when I got into the biking thing was when I got the Old Abe Trail, when I would come and visit Eau Claire, and then I got to go up to Chippewa Falls and bike through the Old Abe Trail.
And we continued on to Jim Falls and Cornell.
Yeah, just absolutely beautiful, beautiful country up there. How did COVID affect your business?
Well, it changed it dramatically. I mean, obviously the on-premise bars, taverns, restaurants shut down. So that's 25% of our business. But people drank and they bought more in the stores. And after that initial hoarding period, there was about a 3 or 4 week period starting in mid-March. It settled down, but our off-premise sales were up double digits. Now it's kind of correcting, whereas the on-premise, I would say, is about 65% of where it was in 2019.
Yeah.
We're not 100% yet, but it's coming back. So bars, taverns, restaurants are coming back. Our Summer Shandy brand is doing well. We're continuing to innovate. We have a new beer, Lemon Haze IPA, which has really been well received. And of course, a lighter style beer, Session Hellas. But there are a lot of differences in things happening in the beer industry right now.
I was going to say,
as a result of COVID,
the big brands have pretty much kind of, I'm not saying took a dive, but kind of flatlined. Craft beers, craft breweries, pubs have exploded. So is there a need for Leinenkugels to keep up with that? Because you guys, you're kind of one of the founders of that from years ago.
You know, one of the interesting things about COVID is because many of those craft breweries, that's a big source of financial income to them. And they were closed. So the big brands actually saw a resurgence last year. And they were the guys that were able to get cans and the packaging, and some of the other breweries were not. We are actually installing a pilot system in our brewery in Chippewa Falls at the Laney Lodge. So to have more flexibility in terms of innovation, that's a project that will start later this month in Chippewa Falls, and we should be brewing by October.
I've always found it fascinating how there's suddenly a need for X, whether it's a summer shandy with a lemon flavor or an orange flavor or persimmon or what. I mean, I guess if I'm a baker, I figure out what to put in things. But I've always found it unbelievably incredible to say, we're going to come up with this. It's like the seltzer world went crazy. Somebody said, this would make a great beer. Who the hell would have thought that? You know?
The flavors have been really interesting. We came out with Berry Weiss, a beer mixed with berry flavor back in 1996. And I kind of call it the juice box generation. The kids that grew up with juice boxes and lots of different flavors. That's really what we're seeing in the beer market right now.
For those that are listening, they are making the announcements. And if you're watching on the live stream, all the celebrities are now behind us. So they're going to introduce them to all the golfers down below one at a time. So I just wanted to let you know what was going on. We are not being told we have to leave the premises. Talk with Dick Leinenkugel. So the growth of the brewery, obviously the family name on it has been such a staple. I still get a kick out of watching the movie The Great Outdoors with John Candy, and there's a Leinenkugel sign, which is fantastic.
The working title of that film was Big Country, and I remember them calling our brewery and asking if we would send some lighted signs out to California to the production team. And my brother Jake thought it was some guy trying to scam us to get some lights out of us. So Jake said, well, take a number, we'll call him back. It was legit. So we sent the signs out. They were in the movie. They actually sent them back.
Really? It's not like it was. I figured Candy would have had him in his man cave or something to that extent.
They sent him back.
Really? That's amazing. Well, at least they were honest about it, I guess. Did you just send them back out to them and say, no, keep them?
No.
Put them in another movie?
They're probably hanging in some bar in northern Wisconsin.
Oh, how would you like to be that bar owner that got the sign that was actually in the John Candy movie?
Hey, before we leave, though, Bill, I wanted to say thanks to you for your continued support of Fisher House, Wisconsin.
Oh, thank you.
I was on the original board that Dan Buttery stood up to bring the first Fisher House to Wisconsin, and I think now you're on the board and continuing to support it with your ride and other special events. But it's such a great cause, to have a home away from home for veterans and their families when they're receiving treatment at the VA in Milwaukee. And I understand there might possibly be looking at Madison as well.
It's official. We are now on the list, and
fabulous.
now the fundraising has begun. So it's $8 million that needs to be raised. But the best part about this is what you guys did as the founders and the originators of this. The investments of the money has been so good that there is about half of that sitting in funds right now. So I mean, we got to the point that there was such a community support for this that had Madison not come about, we legitimately looked at ourselves and said, I don't think we can fundraise anymore, because we've got more than enough that's going to keep the house sustainable for a long time to come if you invest properly. And for everybody that's governed that, been on a board, and you know what it's like, because I sit here and I watch some of these charities and how they work and where the money goes. And one of the big pride things that you guys started that you should be commended for was 85% or better of that money that's raised. 85% of that goes directly back into the home, and it's not used for executive things or for advertising. It was such a there's a pride factor to that for us to keep that to 85 to 90%.
Yeah, Bill, that was something so many people use veteran causes.
Yes.
But you dig into them a little bit further, and there's big salaries and big office buildings and everything else. So that's what I've always respected about Fisher House is their mission is to give back and not have those funds go to cover overhead.
Yep, 100% of the ride, 100% of the golf outing, short of the expense for the actual course. But all that money goes directly back. There is nothing that's really retained or kept or paid off or anything to that expense. So
I just wanted to say thank you.
Thank you so much, because you started it. I'm just, I'm keeping your seat warm until the next guy comes along.
All the credit goes to Dan Buttry. Yeah. Dan was just so passionate about it. He stood up a great board of, and I was just happy to be part of it on behalf of Leinenkugels. And my dad was a vet, and my brother Jake and I both served in the Marines. Two of Jake's boys served in the Marines.
Yeah.
We love giving back to those causes.
That's great. Dick Leinenkugel joining us up here at the table. We're going to go ahead and step away and take a quick break. The golf course is going to be filled with golfers coming up here momentarily. Great to see you always, my friend.
Nice
Best of luck to you guys.
Tell
Jake we said hello if you can get him out of the stream long enough, and we'll talk again soon, okay?
All right.
There you go. Dick Leinenkugel. We'll be back right after this.
Covering Wisconsin sports like a blanket. This is the Bill Michaels Show on the Wisconsin Sports Zone Radio Network.
It's finally summer, Gina Della from Pella. You know what that means.
For sure, Mark Chimura. Can you believe it? In just a few months, chilly winds will be sneaking through leaky windows and doors.
But Gina, it's summer. Time for cookouts, golfing, and heading to the beach.
Exactly my point, Chewy. Sure, you and your friends are getting outside, enjoying warm sunshine and fresh air. But if you want to host game day Packers parties in comfort this fall, you've got to call Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin now.
Gina, I already have energy-efficient Pella windows, but you seem to be on a roll, so...
Depending on the style and materials you choose, you could upgrade your home with Pella windows in as little as 8 weeks.
Bring it home, Gina.
And right now, you can choose 40% off installation or 6-year no-interest financing.
That's into 2027.
You're not kidding. Just order by June 30th. Set your free consultation now at PellaWI.com/radio or 855-PellaWI.
Service reviews applies to for details. Bill Michaels will resume in 3 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 2 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 1 minute. Bill Michaels will resume in 30 seconds.
Long night last night.
Interceptions, an NFL record, 8 Pro Bowls, 9 times All-Pro, 4 Super Bowls, 16 years in the NFL. The NFL Hall of Famer, maybe the greatest.
Two twos,
Yeah.
and deplete their whole team for maybe 1 or 2 years out of the quarterback. You know, if he were 26 or 7, that's a different deal. But he's not. And would he help any team? Absolutely. You know, no denying. Yeah, I think he's right there at 1-2 in the league with Patrick Mahomes from Kansas City. I don't know. I just shake my head, and lots of people, of course, ask me about this situation, and I go, I don't know. I would never have the nerve or the gall to question any management decision. I just would never do it.
There you go. Those are the words of Lynn Dickey from a little bit earlier today. Welcome back to the Bill Michaels Show. We are broadcasting live at Turtleback Golf Course here in Rice Lake. The introductions of all of the celebrities are going on right now. And then they're going to be heading out here in about, I guess, about 10 minutes. They're going to be heading out on the golf course. As those of you that are watching on the live stream, you know, you get a chance to see the crowd down below, which I'm up on the deck where all the celebrities are being introduced. All the golfers are down below getting ready to head out onto the golf course here shortly. And then later on today, there is going to be a hell of a dinner and a fundraiser and auction and all kinds of good stuff. But a tremendous event up here for all the charities in the Barron County area that are supported by this golf course and by this golf tournament. So terrific thing that goes on here in the Barron County area, and specifically in Rice Lake. And it's put together by one of our terrific affiliates, which is Tom Kozer's group. And they're just great people. It's just really great people. So glad for everybody to be here and to be a part of this. Some interesting words. We got a lot of different interesting takes. And one of the things that I found so interesting about last night was that, the big discussion is, about, memories and some of the old stories. And then it turns to today. It turns to what's going. It turns to Aaron Rodgers and the organization, and each player, each one's got a very strong opinion on this as to whether or not Aaron is in the right or the organization's in the right. But the one thing that everybody seems to agree on is that there is a legacy tied to this. As a player, you want respect. You want to earn your right to have somewhat of a say. But on the other hand, you also need to have the understanding that you are just that. You are being paid to play a game, and you have a responsibility to yourself, to your family, to those around you, to the guys around you, that it's kind of one for all and all for one. And it's a very interesting take, and there's a very fine line. And I find everybody not necessarily hardcore siding with one or the other, but trying to walk the line of understanding as to what's going on, and then to the opposite end of the spectrum, saying that there's a game to be played and there's an opportunity. It's one thing, and I shouldn't say this out of school, but it was said to me last night, it's like, look, everybody's in a locker room and sweating and working and striving to do one thing, and that's to win a championship. And you know, as a player, whether or not you are as a team close or whether or not an individual, you're kind of on an island. And if you're on an island, you're a very good player that is on a team that really doesn't have a legitimate shot. But if you are close, everybody's legacy, everybody's ability to say to themselves, I'm a Super Bowl champion, is on the line. And that's something that a lot, how do I put this? One of the players had said to me last night that Aaron Rodgers is committing murder without getting any blood on his hands because he's not saying anything specific. And in many different facets, whether it's, via the organization or the players around him or his own legacy and career or the reporters, the media, everybody's got an opinion. Everybody's got something. Everybody's got something that's been said that they've heard, what have you. But yet it's not coming directly from him. But he can wear a shirt that says offended, but say, I never said that. It was a shirt. I grabbed it out of my drawer. So it's kind of like, okay, it's getting close to time where you got to kind of blank or get off the pot, so to speak. And that's what a lot of people are waiting for. So, again, it's been a real, it's been a terrific experience in so many different levels because there's so many different opinions from people that actually walked the carpets inside those locker rooms and maybe would have put themselves or been involved in a circumstance somewhat similar, although everybody says the same thing, that this is not about, most people hold out and such because of a contract negotiation. This is not. This is about, as Aaron Rodgers put it, character and philosophy. So a lot of different things being stated here today. Coming up a little bit later on the program, we're going to talk about the Brewers. Brewers trying to get the train back on the tracks as they have lost a couple in a row. They need to get some wins under their belt. Also, in addition to that, you've got to the Bucks Game 6 coming up tonight. And tonight, I woke up this morning and I immediately flipped on, flipping around the television and flipped on some of the coverage of the NBA and was watching that this morning and thought to myself about, kind of angst. I don't have angst for tonight's game. It is what it is. I think the Bucks are going to win it. I really do. I think the Bucks are going to win it. I think they're going to win it in a fashion in which they're going to gain confidence. How much confidence coming out of this game, we'll have to wait and see, because if they do gain a lot of confidence, then maybe going into the Barclays Center, they have the ability to pull off the unlikely. But I really believe that I don't have anxiety about this. I really believe they're going to get the win tonight. I feel pretty confident about it. I said yesterday, I'm not betting my house on it, but, if you want to throw some subs on it or maybe an ice cream or two, I'm happy to bet you on that. I just think you're going to get the win tonight. But the win coming out of the Barclays Center, I think is going to be extremely difficult. I think it's going to be a tough, a very tough way to go for this team if they do not win tonight convincingly and figure this out. And a lot of this is going to be incumbent upon, I think a lot of this is going to be incumbent upon Coach Budenholzer. I think this is where he is going to have to give us, as fans, his best coaching job since taking over for the Milwaukee Bucks. Tonight is going to be it. That's it. Justin says, how about a round of golf at the Four Seasons? I'll bet you a round of golf at the Four Seasons. You bet. Justin, I'll do that. I'll do that in a heartbeat. Out there on the 9-hole course, I'll do that. Yeah, there you go. Ben says hair dye. Ben, so I think we've been down this road. I think I've learned my lesson from years gone by. I won't shave my head. I don't think I'm going to dye it either. Have you seen the blonde look that I used to have?
I remember going road a couple weeks ago.
Yeah, I don't know if I could do that again. I think I might have to take you up on something else. What would you, if you could have something right now you would like, what would it be?
A lower golf.
Oh, well, there you go. I can't give you that. Maybe I can get you some lessons, get you hooked up with a pro somewhere, but that's about the extent of it.
There you go.
But you know what? We'll do a round of golf, and then whoever the loser would be buying the round of golf.
Right on.
See, we do that. Where are we going to play?
I went out to Lasonia a couple weeks ago. It was beautiful.
Nice course there. I'm saying Lasonia's nice. University Ridge is nice. Wild Rock is nice. Aaron Hills is not far from my house. I could get us on out there. And there's a few places we could go. So we'll figure that out. So you're saying the Bucs are going to lose tonight?
Oh no, I mean I still think they lose in 7.
Lose
I was
in
saying
7
for you to put on the table, but hey, I'll take the Nets tonight for a round of golf.
For a round of golf? Okay. Well, we'll do that, and then we'll figure out the course later. Or maybe a course will step up and say, "Hey, come and play here." Or maybe we make a big road trip. You, me, Ebo, Nelson. We take a weekend. We come up here to Turtleback or something like that. Or maybe we go up to Pine Mountain Resort and we go play Timberstone Championship course in the UP. That's beautiful. You ever played up there?
No, I've not.
That's a really, really nice course. So okay, I'm in on that. We can do that. I'm looking forward to this. This is gonna be good. Or maybe when because you guys are coming to the house party in July, right?
Yeah, I assume so.
So there's a really good golf course up the street from the house we could go to called Ironwood, which is where the cigar dinner is going to be coming up here at the end of this month in Sussex. Maybe we go do that. Introduce you to Ironwood. So we got plenty of places to play. Hey, coming up in the next hour, we got Harry Sidney that's going to be joining us. We got the Hall of Famer Dave Robinson's going to be here throughout the show. We got so many different guys that are here today that are going to be joining us. We got to talk some Bucs basketball. And start to set up tonight's contest. We'll talk a little more Brewers baseball. So all of that is coming up, and we are broadcasting live out here at Turtleback Golf Course. And so many celebrities here, so many golfers here today, a sold-out show. And it is for a very, very worthy cause. So for all the charities up here that kind of pull it together up in Barron County, a very special day ahead for everybody. So I'm going to go ahead and take a quick break, step away. By the time you come back, chances are a lot of these guys and girls are going to be heading out onto the golf course and beginning their day. And we've already started ours. We got a lot more to go. So stay tuned. We got a lot more of the Bill Michaels Show, and it's coming up. It's coming up right after this. Welcome back, one and all, and we are glad you were with us, and everybody on the Bill Michaels Sports Talk Network who is all together now, and So good to have you along for the ride. We are broadcasting live today. Again, we're in Rice Lake at Turtleback Golf Course, getting ready for the Celebrity Golf Classic, which is coming up. And the golfers are gathered down below if you're watching on the Bud Light live stream. And they are being introduced now, which up here behind me, all the celebrities are here today. Many Packers and Viking players, former players. And you see Dick Leinenkugel sitting next to me. And we had Wayne Laravey on a little bit earlier today, the voice of the Green Bay Packers. And we're going to hear from Harry Sidney. We're going to hear from the Hall of Famer Dave Robinson. So we got a lot coming up here throughout the day, and it was just such a good time last night. We'll talk more about that coming up here in just a little bit. But one of the interesting topics, which I shouldn't say even interesting, one of the dominant topics that has been spoken about so much, not only here but nationally, has been obviously Aaron Rodgers. And we'll get into the Bucs chatter and the Brewers chatter coming up here in a little while. But on the Fox Sports Speak for Yourself show, or Speak for Yourself show, and from Fox Sports, Emmanuel Acho show, I should say, had some insight into the Aaron Rodgers situation. Take a listen to what he had to say.
He looks real petty, but here's why I say what people don't know is the story my brother has shared with us publicly on his show and in private with me about how last year when they were negotiating the collective bargaining agreement, all the reps from the 32 different teams, the player reps were there. Mm-hmm. Aaron Rodgers is a Packers player rep, but he was not at the majority of the negotiations. He flew in on the very last day, and he flew in on the very last day to make one grandiose statement. He said, I don't want to have voluntary workouts, and I don't want to have voluntary minicamp. The seasons are long. There's no need for the voluntary workouts. Let's just show up for training camp. Obviously, as we know, there's a collective vote on the collective bargaining agreement, and everyone voted against Aaron Rodgers. So what did Aaron Rodgers do? Well, if y'all not going to vote with me, I'm just going to give myself my own voluntary offseason and not have to show up. To me, that looks petty because if you're a part of a group and the group is making a collective decision with a collective vote, well, then whether they vote with you or against you, you being a part of that group should err on the side of wherever they vote with. That's how groups and teams work. You can't say you want to do something, but yes, let's make a group vote. The group votes in the direction that you, and now you're like, you know what? I don't even want to do it. I'm going to just go do my own thing. That's what Aaron Rodgers is doing. We are all assuming that Aaron Rodgers isn't at minicamp and isn't at OTAs because he wants a new deal or because he's upset with the Packers. When in all honesty, I just don't think he wanted to go anyway. And he's going to go ahead and mask it behind all the drama that's going on.
An incredibly interesting take, if indeed that's true, which would then put a lot of the other consternation to bed. Which goes a long way to Aaron Rodgers' statement. Let's take a listen to what Aaron Rodgers had to say, Ben, if you have that, when he was on the other day on the promo for the match, when he talked about the offseason and no responsibility and all that kind of stuff. Take a listen to what Aaron Rodgers had to say.
It's been one of those quiet off seasons you just dream about, where you can just kind of go through your process on your own quietly. And, that's all you can ask for as an older player in the league and someone who's been around for a long time and just enjoys that time to yourself, to just relax, to not be bothered, to not have any obligations or anything going on. And, I think that's what this offseason's been about. It's been about really enjoying my time and spending it where I want to spend it and not feeling like I have to go anywhere, not having any responsibilities, but still being an NFL player at the same time. It's been great.
So Aaron Rodgers wanted this, wanted other guys to vote with him so they could say the same thing, no responsibility in the offseason. And he decided he's going to go do his own thing. Now, as we heard, earlier today, Wayne Laravey said, look, there's a lot of guys out there that are dead on a lot of this stuff. Adam Schefter, obviously. And you talk about some of the national guys and that have said that, Aaron Rodgers' resolve not to come back is very, very strong. And there's angst with the organization. The one name that I've heard in being here this last couple of days that nobody really has talked about, and when you talk about culture and philosophy, has been Russ Ball. Now we know Russ Ball was being interviewed and considered to be the general manager of the Green Bay the general manager of the Green Bay Packers, and instead it was given to Brian Gutekunst. And one of the other comments that was made to me was that behind the scenes, when it comes to your contract, when it comes to money, when it comes to agreements and bargaining, Russ Ball, instead of Brian Gutekunst, also has a lot of power. And the quote culture is not great for the way some of these guys are treated. And Aaron, at least according to one, has said that he's kind of taken the stand for all, even the way some of these other players that have signed contracts have been treated through the process. So there is a lot of speculation. There's a lot of consternation. There's a lot of anxiety due to, because of all of this. But it is at some point, Aaron Rodgers is going to have to address all of this because he's going to be questioned about it. It's there. It's all on the table. The dismissal of Jordy Nelson, the dismissal of Corey Linsley, the way guys are treated, Jake Kumro, and all of that. And then, his contract, the drafting of Jordan Love and the timing of the pick and, the not being on the same page with the coach on fourth down and, the collective bargaining agreement, the off season. I mean, all of this is now out there. All of this is on the table. All of this has been exposed. And at some point, he's going to, you would assume, unless he just completely walks away from the game, he's going to have to address it. Because I think a good, now, whether or not he gives you the details in all of this, we'll have to wait and see. But I think a good, if you want to call it a festive and airing of the grievances, to use the sign, is what people want to know. What is this? Because there's so much on the table. 877-867-1670, 877-867-1670. And then, as you hear from other players, he's speaking out, trying to do what he believes is right for the locker room. But on the other hand, right now, in the worst sense, you're hurting the locker room because at what point, remember the old saying that came out of the Brett Favre presser between Mike McCarthy and Ted Thompson, and that was the train has left the station. At what point do you say you can bring him back into the locker room? And if there's a guy, and one of the guys said, look, if there's a guy that doesn't want to be here, you don't want him in that locker room because you don't want him walking around trying to get guys to side with him. And as petty, I guess, as Aaron Rodgers can be, do you want that in the locker room? Because let's just say Jordan Love and Devontae Adams are off on one side of the room and they're kind of laughing and joking about things. Well, do you think that Aaron Rodgers is looking at it going, okay, what are they saying? Are they saying something about me? Are they beginning to side with one another? Is this something that he then has to torpedo, a relationship he has to break up? Jordan Love didn't want any of this. He certainly didn't want to be thrust into the middle of this situation. So there's so many aspects and so many layers of this onion that you have to account for. And it's just, it's completely fascinating. 877-867-1670. ESPN Steve hits us up over on the live stream, says, is the locker room upset with Aaron for not representing them in the union? Some guys have not spoken out against him, if you will. They have been steadfast in their support for Aaron Rodgers. But a lot of the guys have said the same thing, and that being, hey, we got a job to do. Kind of what Lynn Dickey said earlier today. We have a job to do. You're a player. You sign a contract. You have a job to do. Those contracts can be torn up, if you will, when it comes to, the team saying it's time to terminate them. But you know what you're getting into when you sign the deal. You know if your agent's worth their salt, you know what the agents are saying. So, it is what it is, that, you're signing this deal knowing going in wide-eyed what's going to happen. So it's just so many layers to all of this. So we're gonna hear some really interesting words from Harry Sidney coming up here in a little bit. Dave Robinson, going to reminisce with him a little bit, the Hall of Famer. We're going to talk with him about what it's like to have the letters HOF in front of his name. Now that he is in the Hall of Fame, a couple of years removed. So we're going to talk with him a little bit about it as well. But just a lot of really, really, really good stuff coming up throughout the day as many of the golfers are starting to get up. There's a tribute today going on right now as the golfers are kind of getting ready to line up, and over on the first tee box, Bob Alertsma from the former Viking is you're just here? He's just here. So Bob's hanging out with us, and the celebrities up here. And if you look over on, and I think it's up on the live stream now, as Tom Kozer is getting ready to set and tee off in a tribute here today, as Foster Freeze, who, for those that are in the financial markets, Foster Freeze, a huge name in the financial markets for so many years, was a Rice Lake native and donated so much time and money here in the Rice Lake area. And Tom Kozer is going to set this off with a shotgun blast. And there you go. So they tee it off the right way. The tournament was now officially underway. Everybody had to go. What a way to start the tournament. How cool is that? How cool is that? To get a chance to see that if you're watching on the Bud Light live stream. What a cool day. So today, golf balls being teed off and shotguns blast being taking them down. And then tomorrow we're going to be in Victory Lane of Road America. It's a hell of a way to pay attention to the show, if I don't say so myself. Man, what a cool day. So now the golfers now head to the golf carts. They're gonna head out, go enjoy themselves, and have a terrific afternoon and do it for an incredibly worthy cause. And that's many the Boys and Girls Club and so many different charities here in the Rice Lake area, the Barron County area. Turtleback Golf Course, the host for this, and I've said it once, I'll say it 1,000 times. Turtleback is a beautiful golf course. It's really cool through the rolling hills and around the lakes and such here up in Rice Lake. It's a really neat place to play if you ever get the opportunity to do so. So by all means, let's do this. First of all, I want to say thanks to all of our sponsors that bring us here. Thanks to our friends at Quick Trip. Quick Trip, we can't do this without them. Quick Trip is the official convenience store and fuel sponsor of the Bill Michaels Show, and also of the Big Unit Cruiser, which, by the way, I did not bring up here. I had a couple things that were being done to it, but I'm heading back to Milwaukee this afternoon, picking it up, and then it makes its debut tomorrow at Road America, where we're going to have the Saturday meet and greet with all of our listeners and those that won the packages to the IndyCar race. And IndyCar drivers will be coming up tomorrow, and it's such a great week to kind of kick off our travels and just to kind of officially say we're back. We're back in so many different ways. We're back, and life is returning to normal. And thanks to all of you for paying attention. Let's do this. We're going to step away. We're going to take a quick break. When we come back, I do want to talk a little more Bucks basketball. In addition to that, obviously, we got some great interviews coming up as well on the program. Stay tuned. We got more of the Bill Michaels Show right after this.
Covering Wisconsin sports like a blanket, this is the Bill Michaels Show on the Wisconsin Sports Zone Radio Network.
Bill Michaels will resume in 3 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 2 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 1 minute. Bill Michaels will resume in 30 seconds.
Welcome back. Bill Michaels Show is on the air. Man, I tell you what, I have never had a chance to catch a touchdown pass for a Super Bowl win. Never had a chance to hit a home run in a Major League Baseball park. But you get the point. But to get a chance to mix and mingle and hang with all of these great guys, girls, up here at Turtleback and all the different things we get a chance to do. And the fact that we get a chance to do this now via the live stream for so many of you that watch the program, whether it's on YouTube or whether it's on Facebook Live, Periscope, I mean, you name it. Just such a cool deal. So thanks to everybody for paying attention to the program. And if you want to find us, you can find us in many different facets. First of all, phone number 877-867-1670, 877-867-1670. Hit us up over on the Facebook fan page. Go to facebook.com/The Bill Michaels Show. You can find us over on YouTube under Bill Michaels. Same thing with Twitch TV. At Bill_Michaels over there on Twitter. And then you can always, chime in via email, thebillmichaels.com. That is THE, billmichaels.com. And a great way to get a hold of the program there as well. So much to talk about today in so many different facets. We're going to hear from Matt LaFleur coming up later on today, probably midway through the show, something to that extent. We're going to hear from Matt LaFleur, the head coach of the Green Bay Packers, as they close out the mini camp. So we're going to hear from him. We're going to hear from Harry Sidney coming up in a little bit, to Dave Robinson in a little bit. We've already heard, and we'll replay it for some of you that might have missed it on the network. Coming up later on today, we had Wayne Laravey, the voice of the Green Bay Packers, was here and joined us for a little while today. Lynn Dickey, obviously a fan favorite when it comes to the Green Bay Packers. We heard from him regarding this situation. But Lynn, very strong opinion. And I thought as a quarterback, maybe he might come down differently, maybe more on the side of Aaron Rodgers, if you will. But Lynn, no, it just said, look, players play, and that's what you're being paid to do. And you may not like some of the decisions, but you don't question them, because the people upstairs have a franchise to worry about. And it sucks that you're considering, the future when we're right here in the present and in the here and now, and you got to balance that. And he said for the life of him, he can't, figure out the pick, but nevertheless, you got a job to do. So you come in and do your job, and some strong words there. So a lot of different opinion here. But the one thing, and I wanted to talk about this because we had the introductions going on behind me, and it was pretty loud, and I didn't want to be drowned out by that, but I also wanted to be very respectful to what was going on here. But one of the things that was expressed to me now, let me give you the setting here, okay? Last night, you get a chance to talk to all these former players. They're all here, okay? So you get a chance to sit down and talk with them and listen to what it is they have to say. And some of them, you know what, still pretty close to the organization, still have the ear of those inside the walls of 1265. So, and this goes back to what you and I had discussed a while ago about what happened, what has gone so wrong that this has become so incredibly personal. And you can stack up the Jordy Nelsons and the Jake Kumros and all that kind of stuff. Yes, okay, that can be disconcerting, but I don't think you die on that hill because Jordy Nelson was sent packing a year too soon. I don't think you die on that hill for Jake Kumro. Okay, you don't like it, but you get it. And obviously, Aaron wants, what Brady has, and that is a little more say at the table, a partnership, if you will. He wants, obviously, to be able to be considered a knowledgeable person when it comes to maybe not necessarily making personnel moves, but the consideration of certain moves or, maybe what the needs and the wants are for the team. But one of the things that I found interesting was one of the guys came up last night and said, the one guy nobody's talking about and what he's hearing is 2 words, Russ Ball. That there is this way. Russ Ball is the capologist. He's the guy that controls the money. He's the guy that tells Gutekunst, yeah, we can do this. No, we can't do that, that type of thing. They collaborate on contracts and at times personnel about who to keep, who not to keep. What is it going to cost us monetarily? What do we want to kind of allocate certain funds for? And there is a thought that Russ has made decisions because he was being considered at one point in time for the general manager's position. And it was, okay, we're going to give it to Gutekunst because of the scouting side of things, because of the general manager shadowing that he did with Ted Thompson. And Russ Ball's more of the numbers guy. He's not a personnel guy. So there is still the consideration that behind closed doors, Russ Ball wields a lot of power. A lot of power. Maybe by some thought too much. When you have, I've always said, when you have a numbers person, when your business plan is not based off of your players, off of your product, and it's rather vice versa. It's your product that is based off of your numbers. There is a consternation by many that actually do the sweating and the bleeding and the playing and put in the effort that you will not get the right decisions being made because they're based upon the numbers rather than upon the needs and the players and such. And the way the numbers person has the power over contracts and the ability to treat people in a certain direction. And I'm sanitizing this, okay? I'm sanitizing this because the way it was presented was more than a few F-bombs, more than a few, this is the way the Packers have always worked, and they need to change. There is an understanding by some players that the Packers don't talk to you. They do things a certain way. That's it. So when Aaron Rodgers talks about culture and philosophy, that's what he's trying to change. He's trying to change that ability for players to understand how to be treated, how they want to be treated, and it's not just a numbers game. It's not just a business contract, so to speak. Even though we as fans like to say, "Hey, you signed the deal, you know what you're getting into, so go out and play, shut your mouth." It's this is where Aaron Rodgers is beginning to die on that hill. And so it may not be the firing of Mark Murphy or the firing of Gutekunst. It may be the discussion of, hey, if you're going to continue to allow this kind of three-headed monster to get in the way of actually treating people with a little more dignity and respect and doing it kind of things, maybe a new aged way, for all considered a right way, then maybe that's why he's dying on this hill. Because this is not about money. This is not about money. It's not about contract extensions, even though if he comes back, this is going to be probably playing out in that direction. But this seems to be about something internally personal, and that is a big part of it. 877-867-1670, 877-867-1670. So, it's just another thought that, or a layer, if you will, that's been injected into the discussion regarding the disparity between Aaron Rodgers and the organization. Albeit, I will say this, there is one common thread that everybody talked about last night, and that is when you start training camp, and you've got $30 million sitting there, that's hard to walk away from. That they feel that maybe, Aaron, if you take what Acho was saying as true, that this indeed, and by that I mean if you heard that just in the last segment, Emmanuel Acho on Fox Sports is saying that Aaron didn't want to have mandatory minicamps and voluntary minicamps, and that it's too much. The season's too long. They're adding another year to our, or another week to our season, and it's it's not a year-round business. We need some time to get away and relax and do things, and we'll come back ready to go training camp. And if that indeed is what Aaron is referring to, he very well may say, I'm coming back for training camp. I just told you I wasn't in favor of mandatory mini camps and voluntary mini camps, and I didn't want to do it. So I'm coming back, but you guys do your work. You guys do. But you're also looking at the rest of your guys going, you guys go sweat. I'm not going to. I don't have to, which doesn't necessarily bode well for some people behind closed doors in a locker room. It can create, maybe some feelings within that locker room that it is all about Aaron. Now there's a story that's out there that I don't, you put what credibility you want into it. I don't necessarily put a lot of credibility into it, but there's a story out there about Aaron Rodgers and the called what is the it's called Inside Hook, InsideHook.com, that says that Aaron didn't want to do any of this postseason stuff, and he'll come walking back when the money's on the line. He'll come walking back. But it is creating it's creating a disparity in the locker room. That some guys are wanting to talk, but just feel the retribution or the possible excommunication from Aaron Rodgers when he does come back. So I don't know what to believe, but I know that there is a lot to this. 877-867-1670. When we come back, Harry Sidney. Now, this man won Super Bowls with the 49ers, played a long time with the Green Bay Packers as well. And Harry Sidney I stepped up here a little while ago just before things got underway, and we had a chance to sit down and talk. And I want you to take a listen to that conversation when we get back at it. Hey, by the way, this hour brought to you locally by our friends at Noble's Tire Service, your local Goodyear tire dealer in Barron and New Richmond, home of Round the Tires, which is always something good to travel on. Also, this portion of the program brought to you by our good friends at Wisconsin Harley-Davidson. Go to wishd.com, wishd.com. In Oconomowoc, between Milwaukee and Madison, if you're looking for new, if you're looking for used, motor clothes, leathers, helmets, parts, accessories, or terrific service, go see my buddy Craig, the general manager over there. Go to wishd.com. That is wishd.com. You're going to hear from Harry Sidney when we come back. Stay tuned. More of the Bill Michaels Show next.
Ready? This is the Bill Michaels Show on the Wisconsin Sports Zone Radio Network.
What's up? It's finally summer, Gina Della from Pella. You know what that means.
For sure, Mark Chimura. Can you believe it? In just a few months, chilly winds will be sneaking through leaky windows and doors.
But Gina, it's summer. Time for cookouts, golfing, and heading to the beach.
Exactly my point, Chewy. Sure, you and your friends are getting outside, enjoying warm sunshine and fresh air. But if you want to host game day Packers parties in comfort this fall, you've got to call Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin now.
Gina, I already have energy-efficient Pella windows, but you seem to be on a roll, so...
Depending on the style and materials you choose, you could upgrade your home with Pella windows in as little as 8 weeks.
Bring it home, Gina.
And right now, you can choose 40% off installation or 6-year no-interest financing.
That's into 2027.
You're not kidding. Just order by June 30th. Set your free consultation now at PellaWI.com/radio or 855-PellaWI.
Certain restrictions apply. See show for details.
Bill Michaels will resume in 5 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 4 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 3 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 2 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 1 minute. Bill Michaels will resume in 30 seconds.
Show. We are broadcasting live. We are here at Turtleback Golf Course. You know what? Here, grab that. The man that puts this whole thing together is Tom Kozer, who does so much for the community and brings me here. Excuse me, every year. And first of all, the fact that people were watching you, so millions throughout the world were watching you.
No pressure.
Over there on the first tee box. And not only have you never hit a first shot in a Stetson, but you had a shotgun alongside. And let's, for those ladies and gentlemen, it's Tom Kozer up here with the radio group. What is the official title of your radio group? Is it just
it's Kozer Radio Group?
That's what I thought.
Yeah.
I wanted to make sure I didn't mispronounce anything or
Yeah.
throw an extra word in there by any chance. But also the affiliate that I broadcast on up here in Rice Lake each and every day. But so
a Midwest family cousin.
Yes, of Midwest Family Broadcasting out of
Right.
based. Well, they're all individuals.
Decentralized. Say hi to
yeah.
Dick Record in La Crosse, and Tom Walker in Madison. And,
Yeah.
we were in Oshkosh for a while. I was in Rockford, Springfield, Madison.
Yeah.
What a group. What a great group of guys, and gals.
Yep.
Yeah.
So this thing came together how?
Well, Bill, like any other small community, and Rice Lake's not that big. I mean, we probably have 16,000 if you take the greater Rice Lake metro complex,
Okay.
together with the city and the township. And every small town has all the youth organizations. You got your kinship program, boys and girls. You have athletic boosters, hockey, deal, whatever. Everybody has a golf event. They want to raise money for
Right.
that. And what happened in the business community, everybody gets hit for the same sponsorship every year and all that kind of stuff. And it's hard to take all that time off to go play in these deals and everything. So I went to the executive directors, and all the revenue for these events were going down. I went to the executive directors and said, hey, how about if we all work together? Let's work together. Let's put all into one big giant event. And let's bring in celebrities. Let's bring in some Packers and Vikings and Brewers and people and make it a huge event. Then as a sponsor, you can contribute once to this nonprofit organization, and then we'll take that money and we'll divide it out to all the youth groups.
Right.
And so, many of these youth groups were making maybe $10,000, $11,000 on their event. And now by everybody working together, they're getting double that or more.
Right.
And that's the idea behind it. This is our 6th year, and the business community has been fabulous. Our sponsorship group has been great. And the late, great Foster Freeze has just been in his family now, have just been amazing to us.
Yeah.
So it's been great.
Now, you explained to everybody last night who Foster was for people that weren't watching Fox News Money or MSNBC or what have you. He became a massive, massive mogul and was from right here in Rice Lake, Wisconsin.
Grew up right here, Rice Lake Athletic Hall of Fame. He's a really good athlete himself, but he left here in the early 60s, was with the University of Wisconsin. Then he was in the military. He took $800 of accumulated military pay, turned it into a couple of $1 billion. Neil Cavuto called him the greatest stock picker of all time. And he lived out east. He was on Wall Street, lived in Philly and in that area. And he was, you'd always see him on the business channels and all those kinds of things. So he had the largest mutual fund in the world called the Brandywine Fund.
Mm-hmm.
And it was the highest performer fund for clients and managed about $15 billion in assets from Rice Lake. I got to know him because we were members of the same club out in Arizona. I met him out there about 15, 16 years ago. And so he said, there's somebody from Rice Lake. I want to meet him. So he comes in and we struck up a relationship. And whenever we needed Foster, we needed to build new athletic facilities here in Rice Lake. Foster was there. He donated $500,000. Tornadoes hit in this area. A whole bunch of people lost their homes in a mobile home park. He was here within hours. He'd fly in and bring the governor, and he was here within hours writing checks to people. He put up $1 million in matching funds for the community to match it. He asked me if I could get the word out, and I did with my radio stations. $2 million went to these people, bought new mobile homes. They have a tornado shelter now and all those things. He probably estimated that he gave away between $500 and $800 million in his life. And he and his wife, Lynn, have drilled tens of thousands of freshwater wells for villages in Africa and India. And he's just a very strong supporter of traditional American values and conservative values. And it's just an amazing guy. He lived by what saying, and he encouraged me all the time. He said, Tom, we need to live like St. Christopher said. It's better to light a candle than it is to curse the darkness. And that was Foster. Just an amazing guy. Passed away here in the last year, diagnosed with a very strange blood disorder, bone marrow disorder, and that wasn't making blood platelets. They thought he'd live for 3 or 4 years, but only lived for about 7 months. And he went quickly, and he was just buried here a week ago Monday, and he's been the title sponsor of this. His Left Right Forward March Foundation. People, he always encouraged people to, if you're on the left, if you're on the right, it really doesn't matter because there are many things that we can agree on. So that's what this organization's all about.
Right.
No matter where you are politically, we can all agree that kids are a great benefactor, and let's all work together on that.
I was sitting at a table last night And one of the people that were there next to me leaned over and said, because we were talking about COVID and we didn't have this. And I said, it was funny because Lynn Dickey, I thought, phrased it perfectly last night. He said, "This is not a golf outing this year. This is a reunion."
It is.
And which I found deep because of what we all as a society went through this past year with COVID.
Amen.
And when we're sitting at the table and we're talking about that, one of the women leaned over to me and said, and pointed to you and said, "We didn't go without." So that's kudos to you, man.
Well, thanks.
I mean, that's why I wanted to mention it last night, because I think there's a lot of people that go unmentioned. And for things like this and what people do, even in the worst of times of what we went through as a country, as a world, there's still are people out there that do some things, and because the need never goes away.
No. And maybe it was even greater for the youth organizations last year. We weren't able to hold this event like so many other events, but this community was just amazing, Bill. We went to the sponsors of the event, said, "Hey, we can't hold the Celebrity Classic this year. All the youth organizations still need the dollars. We've cut all of our expenses. There's zero expenses. Would you help us in this bridge year, get the money to the kids?"
Right.
And we still were able to distribute $90,000 to the kids
amazing.
organizations last year. Yeah.
That's amazing.
They were. I mean, this community is just tremendous. It's just been a lot of just fabulous support. I mean, I have a wonderful committee. A wonderful committee, a group of people that really work hard.
I was texting like crazy. I was the one guy that's not here. I was hoping would be Larry. I wanted Larry back.
Yeah.
So
Larry the Cable Guy.
Larry.
I mean, those are legendary.
Right.
Those interviews you had with Larry the Cable Guy, and he was here at this event because he had a home just close to here in the summer. He married a gal from Spooner.
Right.
And he lives in Lincoln, Nebraska, and down in Arizona in the winter. But he's up here in the summers. Well, he sold his home, and so he's not up here. But we got to get him back.
Yeah.
He played Turtleback all the time, loved Turtleback, and those interviews with you were just legendary.
He would walk in, and he wasn't in character.
Yeah.
So he'd walk in and go, "Hey, I wrote a bunch of new stuff.
Yeah.
So I'm going to pull out a piece of paper and I will deliver it. And you tell me what you think." And you're in stitches.
Yeah,
I
know it.
And it's not fake. It's not like I'm not Jim Powell to Bob Uecker, for God's sakes, And it was hilarious. So I agree with you.
And he was legit. Hey, what do you think of this?
Yes.
I was thinking about doing this. What do you think?
And he would say, he would say, "Hey, do you think I should say it this way or this way?"
Yeah.
And he's no longer Tater or Mater or whatever, the car,
the truck,
the truck. He's this guy talking to you, wanting your opinion on how to deliver a joke so he can be funny.
Amazing guy, loved playing here. He'd play by himself in his cutout golf shirts and everything.
Right.
He'd play by himself. He'd just go around loving it. And the thing about Larry the Cable Guy, he was at one time, and he probably still is, the world's most recognizable comedian. And in the world, and here he is out here helping us out. Didn't charge us anything. He'd come here, he'd play in the event, he'd tell some jokes, and he charges a lot of money to do events. And he never charged us a dime, and helped us raise a ton of money.
Yeah,
and he's just Larry the Cable Guy. What a fabulous guy!
Doing the auction about 3-4 years ago, one of the coolest things ever to be auctioned off was his voice for your kid at Christmas.
Mater the Truck would call and wish your kid a Merry Christmas.
That was so cool.
Yeah. That was really cool.
That was so
neat. For your kid, your 8-year-old, to get a phone call from Mater the Truck and wish him Merry Christmas.
That was.
And went for a lot of money.
I
mean, and we've had some amazing things donated. Of course, we've got. I think there's 4 NFL Hall of Famers playing in this deal.
Yeah,
and they've donated a lot of their merchandise, and the time that people put into this is amazing. We're so appreciative you coming up here, Bill. Doing the show.
I'm just glad to be here.
Just amazing for you. The 6 years you've been up here, we just really appreciate you.
This year the best because we actually had on video that opening shot, which actually was a pretty good shot too.
I was worried about
that
I'd whiff it.
Did he hit it with the shotgun?
No, I think Bruce was a little behind it because I usually draw it, and this one cut. But it is a dogleg right, so I was trying to get around the corner.
It looked like it was a good shot. Hey, before we go, how's your son doing? Because talk about a golfer.
Thanks for asking. Taylor is
Brooks Koepka of Wisconsin.
Well, that's kind of you. We got a lot of good players, from Wisconsin. Jordan Niebrugge is probably the most recognizable. Finished 5th, I think, in the U.S. or the British Open a few years ago.
Yeah.
And he's playing on the Korn Ferry Tour now, and Taylor sees him a lot. My son Taylor is playing in his 7th year, and played 7 straight rounds from early April until May. Under par, with Korn Ferry qualifiers and Korn Ferry events. And so he's playing well. He's healthy. He's put on 15 pounds and hitting a little bit farther.
Yeah.
But he just turned 30. And a lot of people don't know this, but the average age of a PGA Tour player when they get there He's 30.
Yeah.
It's about 7 years to get there. You see Ricky Fowler and Spieth and these guys. They're the freaks. They're the they're the Al Kalines and Killebrew and those guys that never went to the minor leagues, or Kobe went to right to the NBA, and Kevin Garnett, those guys. But the average PGA Tour player takes about 7 years, so he's kind of on schedule, and we hope he stays healthy and he's playing great. So
great to see you as always. Thanks for
Bill.
having us up here. I certainly appreciate it. And now you're going to go hit them straight, or you?
No, I got too many things going on, so we're trying to keep this thing going. But
from what I understand, there's some Bloody Marys with your name on it.
Well, there are some down there. It'll be up here right after 2:00, I think. Bill, can't thank you enough for coming
Absolutely.
up. We really appreciate
you. Our pleasure. More of the Bill Michaels Show coming up live at Turtleback Golf Course here in Rice Lake right after this.
This is the Bill Michaels Show on the Wisconsin Sports Zone Radio Network.
Bill Michaels will resume in 3 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 2 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 1 minute. Bill Michaels will resume in 30 seconds.
Hanging out here, and for those of you watching on the Bud Light live stream, certainly appreciate you paying attention to us. Tom Kozer was just joining us up here, the Kozer Radio Group. Nobody on the tee boxes right now, but there is, the tent, which will be used later on today, and a lot of the auction items and such that are down there. And those are, as the players are out on the golf course for the celebrity course today, the celebrity tournament today, in which you've got, how do I put it? A lot of money being raised up here for very worthy causes is Tom Kozer. By the way, WBA Hall of Famer, Wisconsin Broadcast Association Hall of Famer, Tom Kozer. So I want to make sure I get that in because Tom been around a long time, done a lot of great things in broadcasting and for communities here in the state of Wisconsin. So good stuff there. 877-867-1670. We're going to hear from Matt LaFleur coming up here in just a little bit, head coach of the Green Bay Packers, who is speaking and wrapping up the minicamp. By the way, this hour is brought to you locally by Noble's Tire Service, your local Goodyear tire dealer in Barron and New Richmond, home of the round tires. And thanks to them for being a part of the program. Also, this portion of the program brought to you by our friends at Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin. And Gina Della from Pella, they have great people that work there. They have a terrific offer going on right now as well, which we've talked about time and again, and I highly recommend. But you can get 6 years no interest financing, or you can get 40% off installation right now. We all know that, hey, the winter winds are going to come a-howling sooner, probably sooner than we want, to be honest with you. But nevertheless, if you're looking for new windows and doors, if they're sticky, if they're old, if they're broken down, if they're leaky, no better time than to do it than right now. And all you got to do is give them a call, 855-PELLA-WI, 855-PELLA, PELLAWI, or just go to PELLAWI.com/radio. That is PELLAWI.com/radio. And go ahead and check them out. They're great people. They have 9 different lines, all different sizes, custom fit to your home. And in addition to that, they have different hardware for them as well. So they got many different things. They're not cookie cutter. They're fantastic, and they're the highest value, quality. The workmanship is amazing. The installation is guaranteed. I mean, there's no reason if you are looking for new windows and doors not to give our friends at Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin a call. Go to PellaWI.com. That is PellaWI.com/radio. Marv says, "Hey, what are you sipping on?" Honestly, I have a Red Bull here. I got some sweet tea next to that, and then some Aquafina water next to that, and a good cigar, because we're out here on the deck and we're enjoying ourselves. And this is just so cool. This is just always such an incredible pleasure to be a part of. But just seeing people play golf and doing it for a great cause and having a good time, and just, I know it's a work day. Many of you are either listening to the program while you're working on a site, or driving around in a car, or maybe in your office on a computer. Maybe you're working from home. Who knows? But or parts unknown throughout the world. I got Chad, who said he's listening to us in Kansas City, Kansas. There's Rick, who said he's listening to us down in San Antonio, Texas. Chris listening to us in San Francisco, California. Thanks, which is, I think, the farthest away today listening to us. At least that's mentioned. And then I got Misty, who is listening to us out in Colorado. So we're all over the place. So thanks for paying attention to us and watching us over on the Bud Light live stream. So coming up the next hour, I can't believe we're 2 hours into this. This has been an amazing day already. But coming up in the next hour, we are going to hear from Harry Sidney, a really good conversation from Harry Sidney. We are going to hear from Dave Robinson. We are going to hear from Matt LaFleur. Dave Robinson, the former Packer and Hall of Famer. We are going to hear from the head coach of the Green Bay Packers as well. By the way, Mark checking in from Jacksonville, Florida. So, Mark, great to have you on the Bud Light live stream. Thanks so much. So we're going to hear from all of those parts coming up here in just a little while. So make sure you hang in there for that. And, again, just a really terrific day. If you're a golfer, maybe you just want to visit Rice Lake. But if this is a really cool golf course you want to play, if you want to kind of check it off of your list of terrific golf courses throughout the state of Wisconsin, come on up to Turtleback. So, and also, we want to pay attention to tonight's contest between the Bucks and the Nets. Game 6 tonight at the Fiserv Forum, and this is obviously do or die for the Bucks. I have a high level of confidence in the Milwaukee Bucks coming up tonight, but there is some consternation out there. What the Bucks need to do tonight to be successful, to kind of gain an advantage, if you will, even though they got to go back to Brooklyn to play Game 7. There's some things they can do tonight to gain an advantage. Tonight's tip-off, 7:30 Central Time from the Fiserv Forum. So we're going to talk more about that coming up here in just a little bit as well. But there's a lot of moving parts today, so you're going to have to kind of bear with me. Plus, in the last hour, if you didn't catch it in the first hour, Wayne Laravey, the voice of the Packers, Lynn Dickey, former quarterback for the Green Bay Packers. There's a lot to nosh on here today as we continue to kind of skim through the day. But it's exciting. We're having an absolute blast here, and it's only going to continue for the next 2 hours. 2 hours down and 2 hours to go. And like I said, it's when you're having fun and you're enjoying yourself, it never seems like work, and it always seems like time flies, and that's exactly what's happening today. Hey, I also want to say thanks to our friends at Kunis RV. Tomorrow, we're going to be at Road America. I get back into Milwaukee tonight, then turn things around, and then we head to Road America up in Elkhart Lake, Wisconsin. And we're going to be there tomorrow from Victory Lane with more guests revolving around racing and such here in the state of Wisconsin. Plus, we're going to break down the Bucks Game 6. We'll talk about the Brewers upcoming weekend. All of that coming on the program tomorrow. So, and we'll also, hopefully, for all of you coming up there that are going to be at Road America over the weekend, you're going to get your first look at the brand new Big Unit Cruiser. Compliments of our friends at Kunis RV. Go to kunisrv.com. That is Kunis, Kunes, kunisrv.com. And come on out and say hello to us coming up starting tomorrow all throughout the weekend at Road America in Elkhart Lake. Going to step away. A lot more of the Bill Michaels Show. 2 hours down, 2 hours yet to go. We'll be back right after this. Hour number 3 of the Bill Michaels Show. We are broadcasting live at Turtleback Golf Course. We are in Rice Lake, Wisconsin. Beautiful Rice Lake, where there's a few clouds, a little high sky today. It's not bright blue like it was yesterday. High sky today, but that doesn't matter because beautiful day, a little bit of a breeze, a little warmer than it was yesterday. Fantastic. It's the Rice Lake Celebrity Golf Outing, which is underway right now. It got underway about, I don't know, I guess about 45 minutes ago, 50 minutes ago, something like that. And the golfers are out on the course and enjoying the day. So always good. A few of them hitting the 19th hole already, but that's okay. As you saw there on the Bud Light live stream. So Good stuff. Hey, this portion of the program brought to you by our terrific friends over there at Scholze Family Farms, and they are great people. If you're going to be out doing any tailgating, you got this kind of weather, you might as well get out and enjoy it while you can, even though we know we all could use some rain. Before the rain hits, hit up our friends over there at Scholze Family Farms. Kick off the tailgate season at the ballpark or in your backyard, whether it's the bratwurst, which they have 4 different flavors of bratwurst. You can also check out the pre-formed beef patties, the hamburgers, skinless hot dogs for the kids. They got something for everybody. But if you are the hardcore griller, master extraordinaire, they have the chops. They have fillets. They have New York strips. They have the ribeyes, the tomahawk ribeyes, roasts, briskets, ribs. They have all of it and all the seasonings and barbecue sauces and everything that go along with it. Check out our friends at Scholze, Scholze, S-C-H-O-L-Z-E, ScholzeFamilyBeef.com. That is ScholzeFamilyBeef.com. Great people from their family farm to your family's table. That is ScholzeFamilyBeef.com. Earlier today, I sat down and had a chance to talk with a former Packer, a guy that won Super Bowls with San Francisco. Harry Sidney, just really, like I said, the last night was interesting in the sense that a lot of people speaking off the record about what's going on in Green Bay. Harry came over and said, oh, come on, we'll talk a little bit more about it and give you my insight into what's happening in Green Bay as well. Also, he does a lot with charities and such. So sat down and chatted a little bit earlier with Harry Sidney. Take a listen. So how you been? You doing good?
I'm doing well.
Yeah?
I'm doing well. It's a crazy year, all those things, but we've been blessed. And then what I do with my program, my Brother's Keeper that I run, and me and my wife, we work together. Hey, life is good. Kids are 8 kids. I tell them once they turn 18, 8 kids, they graduate. Nobody's in jail. I'm doing good.
Yeah, you're no longer in the minor leagues. No. You're off the payroll.
And I'm enjoying life.
Yeah, good for you.
Yeah, you have to.
Yeah, good for you. A beautiful day like this, a great cause like this.
And that's the thing, because from being a guy that runs a nonprofit, I know how hard it is.
Yeah.
And to see everybody coming up and getting involved for not just one cause, but the cause of helping everybody.
Right. But this is also, and it was, I guess, best stated last night, without having it last year, this year's kind of a reunion.
Everything feels better.
Yeah.
It's like all of a sudden, I've come to this a lot of different times, get on the course, and then all of a sudden you go, oh, I remember this hole.
Yeah.
And it's like a fun feeling. And the cool part is everybody seems to be having the same feeling.
So, obviously there's a lot of talk with what's going on in the NFL, the things that are progressing. And you and I are sitting here talking before we go on the air. And you said, how you going? And I said, well, just keeping up with the Aaron Rodgers story. Isn't this, I guess, for lack of a better term, amazing? The way things have gotten so sideways.
Everything all of a sudden became personal.
Right.
And the only reason I say that because you have Mark Murphy having a word talking about complicating everything Rodgers has been since this offseason has been complicated, because complication comes when people keep trying to figure out what the hell's going on.
Right.
And nobody can get to an ending.
Right.
And there's so many different angles.
And that this is not a contract negotiation. This is not any of that. This is something where it's become so personal and so entrenched. And, I was sitting there talking last night to a couple of the guys, and it seemed to be like, okay, I always ask, what is the outcome? What is the end game?
It's the end game. Yeah.
And is the end game strictly to get out of Green Bay, or is there a way to come down off of the mountain, save face, and become at least harmonious inside that locker room?
Well, here's the thing. I think that this still can be saved, but it's going to have to be happening soon.
Right.
Because before long, when the train starts moving, you're in training camp, you start building, and you get guys to a certain place, then all of a sudden, if he comes in, you disrupt everything. Mm-hmm. The growth, the relationship between players. And so I think it's one of those things that you would love to see, especially in the world that we live in now, where there's a lot of miscommunications.
Right.
It'd be nice to see them sit together, communicating, and if it's Green Bay that needs to say, we relax, we could have done different ways, or if it's Rodgers to say we could have done different ways. There's different ways as this could be handled, and it'd be nice to say, let's kiss and make up and cut the crap, because there's nowhere better for Rodgers to play.
Talking with Harry Sidney here at the Rice Lake Celebrity Golf Outing, and when it gets personal like this, everybody has a feeling But the one person that has not spoken in any particular depth is Rodgers. He's given us kind of quips and beautiful mysteries and character and philosophy and such. But don't you at some point, whether it's through your people or yourself, through all of this kind of mess, have to say, this is what I want?
Well, yeah, and that's the frustrating thing. And it's because, he talks about culture and things, and obviously there's a lack of communication. There's been a breakdown, and we've heard where different guys have gone out there to have conversations with them, guys that are in power to have those conversations, and nothing's resolved.
Right.
There's something there's some line that's been drawn in the sand that nobody wants to cover. And it's hard for us as ex-players, ex-coaches, or just fans to go, what's the end game? Like you said earlier, what are you trying to accomplish?
Right.
That hasn't been accomplished now, because it was forcing the Packers to say, now let's look at this. Rodgers, how many more years we have him? And if we keep him, what do we do with Jordan Love? All of a sudden, like you did say, there was a monkey wrench that was thrown into things.
Yeah.
Because of Rodgers being the MVP of the league, and every player wants to have that time when they have the moment in the sun.
Yeah.
Where everything falls and sets on them. And if you are a guy that enjoys that, he's where he wants to be. Now the question is, what's your next step?
Yeah. Here's the question I want to ask you. As a player in that locker room, somebody that would be watching this go on, your team has been fortified. You're close.
Yeah.
You just need the engineer of the train. As a player, how difficult is it to stay out of somebody else's business, but also to say, dude, I want a ring. We're right here, and we're not getting a ring if you don't come through that door.
And that's the thing about it. Because in the last 2 years, in my opinion, my opinion is based on USFL, NFL, coaching in NFL, won 3 Super Bowl rings, 2 as a player, 1 as a coach, and have watched it, play with the Joe Montanas, the Brett Favres. And I'm throwing those names out there, not just because that's where my credibility comes from.
Right. But they're also some of the greatest players that ever played the game.
I played with Charles Haley, Ronnie Lott, Jerry Rice, these great people. And what they realize, when guys get to a certain point, they realize greatness isn't about them. Greatness is about making everybody else great, and then you become great.
Right.
And I think Rodgers is at a point where he's just great. He needs to understand. And for guys in the locker room, you don't want to get in their business. You handle your contract, because I'm not going to tell you what to do in your house. That's up to you. But the fact is, now you're costing me money.
Yeah.
As much as I'm trying to keep it a business, you're affecting the Green Bay Packers, but also you're affecting my bottom line. I mean, think about Devontae Adams. He's thinking about he's in a contract year.
Yeah.
Does this holding out with Rodgers? Does he want to come out there and put his contract year into a young quarterback that now it changed philosophy? He's going to want Rodgers to come in. Yeah. On the personal side, what's best for him is that Rodgers gets in here.
Yeah.
What's best for everybody, and especially on the fact of, in the last 2 years, the Packers weren't as close as many people thought they were, because you had Tampa, you had to deal. But now, this year, you got a better offense. Not a better, because your offensive line has been incredible. The coach is incredible. Offensive line is intact. You got a tight end core that is incredible. You have inside, outside Aaron Jones, big guy running back. We'll see how he comes, but you got an inside. You got tight ends, and now you got a slot receiver offensively.
Mm-hmm.
You got, if you been saying, this is what I wanted, you didn't get, well, now I got it.
Right.
I don't understand. I don't, and I know it's business and all that. It's supposed to be business, but it's not. And I guess that's why I don't understand, because something happened on the emotional side that got in the way of business.
Yeah, that's the thing that I don't think anybody completely
there's a piece that's missing here.
Yeah.
And I don't know if it's where the piece is. I've heard this and that, but it's just something happened, because anytime you say change of culture, you're not saying change of decision.
Yeah.
Culture's a lasting thing that's happened for quite a while. It's just not a one issue thing.
Right.
And when Rodgers says there's a culture change, then you're dealing with, okay, what exact culture are you talking about? Because there's a lot of different cultures.
And the only way to change your culture, I guess, is that you can't just say, okay, we'll do it. You have to show it.
It takes time.
But
you got to know what it is. What exactly?
But you have to trust enough to come in and say, okay, if you're going to, I'll keep my word, you keep yours, I guess.
Yeah, and that's the thing that frustrates me, because to me, that's business decision. Football is you notice about hitting, running, tech. I know the game is changing, but it's about a team. It's about not one piece, even though the NFL is the NFL and the quarterbacks get the hoopla and all that stuff. It's still about the offensive lineman blocking and everybody being part of it. And I just think that Rodgers, man, you're part of something good.
Yeah.
You because as good as we want to say and all that stuff, were there 1 in 5 in the NFC Championship games?
Well, yeah. 1 in 4. 1 in 4, 5 of them.
His touchdown to interception ratio.
Mm-hmm.
And in the big games, as good as he's played, they only have 1 Super Bowl, man. And I've said this before. Since 1992, you got Brett Favre and Aaron Rodgers, and you only got 2 Super Bowls.
Right.
That's
I'm with you.
You know,
and you had chances.
You had chances.
Yeah. Because they were clearly the better team in 2014 in Seattle. We all know that. But, you know, when people talk about Rodgers, I remember he played on the bad calf in Dallas and made that incredible throw to Cook. They had no business being there.
Yeah.
And then to lose the way they did to Atlanta, I get it. You know, they got whooped up front. Same thing in San Francisco a couple of years ago. They couldn't stop the run. We know why they lost.
Yes.
But I was talking last night with Wayne Laravey about this. But this is Aaron's legacy. This is your legacy. You know, if you're considered one of the greatest of all time, you look at this and say, okay, look, I can be petty. I can get out. I can get more money. I can get this. But as a Packer and as your legacy goes, if you don't come back and you don't finish this thing, this is a stain that will never leave.
That's, you know, and that's that part about it is not only is it that, but in the process, and we know how it goes, but in the process of you making these decisions now, how many other organizations that really can put you in a place that you want to be, do the things for your legacy right now. And so this move seems to, is this how you want to go out? Is this how you want to be? Is how you want to be known as the guy with the man bun now?
Right.
The sings guitar, the sings in the host of Jeopardy. If he comes back and changes, the story has yet to be written. I'm just saying you're running out of pages.
Yeah, that's exactly right. You're running out of time. You're running out of time. And you've got probably, if you look at a guy like Brady who wins at 44, you've got probably 5 years, 6 years left.
You can't. Yeah, you got 6. If everything goes and plays, you don't get hurt. You know what happens to get older quarterbacks. I know he's all of those things that he can be. But the fact is, all we know this game, all it takes is one mistake.
Yeah,
you're hit wrong, this or that, and you got to be lucky to get Tom Brady. There's a reason Tom Brady wins, and it's not just because how good he is, but he works hard. He conditions himself to win.
Yeah,
and as a professional athlete, the older you get, you have to do that.
Last year, Rodgers said he went away and worked on his legs because he knows as a quarterback you can't lose your legs. So he changed the way he worked out. This year, he says in that little quip the other day, I have no responsibilities. I have no care and concern, nothing to do, nothing to worry about. This is what a veteran works for. And I'm thinking, no, it's not. You have to work harder as a veteran, as an aging guy. If I'm sitting in that locker room, I'm concerned.
Well, because like I said earlier, you know, you're coming here, and as much as it's about rings, for some guys, it's about money. And everybody sits in their locker room has a different definition of what success means to them. Right. A lot of them football, some is Super Bowl rings because you play the game with the rings, and some is money. But the fact is, whatever each individual wants or likes, they have to feel what's going on is jeopardizing their place in history.
Yeah,
they're where they see their self, how they can go. You know, you get, for example, you get a young slot receiver that could be the difference maker now. Is his growth slowed down? Is Devontae Adams' explosion slowed down?
Yeah.
Is Aaron Jones now, there's more pressure put on him? Mm-hmm. You know, there's all of a sudden the giant puzzle where Rodgers was a piece of the puzzle. Now the pieces get changed.
Yeah.
And when you're trying to build, it's hard to tear down and then rebuild. And you say, well, you know, are the Packers close? You know, how big is the window? Well, the windows shrink because there's other people trying to get to the window.
Right. I'm completely with it. I tell you what, Harry, it's always great to talk to you.
Yes.
So real quick, plug for your charity.
I run a program, My Brother's Keeper, a male mentoring program that started in 2003. We work with boys and men ages, used to be 11 to 65. Now it's 8 to 82.
Wow.
Because everybody has stuff, everything. And one of our models is it's not a black thing or a white thing, it's a man thing.
Yeah.
So we've been working on changing our men. And just a quick plug, people say, how's it going? This past year, we won an award from the National Football League.
Oh, wow.
The foundation,
Congratulations.
Yeah, our program was picked number 2 in the most impactful program in the city, in Green Bay.
That's awesome.
So we love what we do. That's why I like to come up here and help any way we can.
Yeah.
Because we're all in this together.
Yep, no doubt about it. Harry, it's always a pleasure to talk to you.
Always
Thanks for stopping by, pal.
My pleasure.
There you go. Harry Sidney joining us up here at the table. We're at Turtleback Golf Course in Rice Lake, Wisconsin, and it's great to get that perspective. Man, you talk about a guy that just kind of gets it and wanted to give us a different look. I told you it would be worth the wait. So Harry Sidney joining us at the table. Hey, I want to say thanks to a couple of people. Epoxy Flooring done right. Sean and the gang over there, they do it right, providing Wisconsin home and business owners epoxy flooring coating services, reasonable prices, and terrific workmanship. As a matter of fact, I trust them so much, they did my house. They actually did my house and the gym in my house, and it turned out picture perfect. And so many people have commented on it when they come over to the house just to say, man, it's beautiful down here. They'd like to have that done. I always say, get a hold of Sean. Call Sean, 262-443-2852. The warranty is fantastic. They're right here in the state of Wisconsin. They're local, from Milwaukee to Madison to Green Bay, everything in between. They can do it all. And get a hold of Sean. Again, 262-443-2852, 262-443-2852. That's Epoxy Flooring Done Right. You can follow them on Facebook as well for all of their work. Again, epoxyflooringdoneright.com is the website. Get a hold of Sean, 262-443-2852. And say hi to Jeff and Alicia and everybody out at Stoley's Hog Alley. Stoley'sHogAlley.com in Oconomowoc. You don't have to be a biker to have fun there and be there. Go out and enjoy some lunch, which is served 11 to 5 daily. And Tuesday night, wing night, pizza night on Wednesday, taco Thursday, and then fish fry Friday. Oh, so good out there. And they do. They put on a hell of a fish fry. Say hi to Jeff and everybody out there at Stoley's Hog Alley. And he's got the new place, Stoll's Old 109, as well up in Watertown. So terrific place there to stop into. Stay tuned. We got a lot more of the Bill Michaels Show, a lot more interviews coming up. We still have Dave Robinson, the Hall of Famer. We're going to hear from Matt LaFleur, the Packers head coach. Stay tuned. We got more coming up after this.
Covering Wisconsin sports like a blanket, this is the Bill Michaels Show on the Wisconsin Sports Zone Radio Network.
How we looking? Bill Michaels here for the Four Seasons Island Resort in Pembine, Wisconsin. And I've got to tell you, when I want to get away for a long weekend, I head to the Four Seasons Island Resort. It's Northeast Wisconsin's best-kept secret, and the amenities include a 9-hole golf course, indoor saltwater swimming pool, sauna, whirlpool, tennis courts, basketball, horseshoe pits, volleyball, and when you're hungry, choose from the Boundary Water Sports Bar and Grill, Lily's Ice Cream Parlor, or fine dining in the Diamond Room. How about all of that? All Marinette County ATV and UTV trails are wide open this year. Guided waterfall tours as well. It's tucked into the north woods of Wisconsin. The Four Seasons Island Resort is located on the Muscano Island and surrounded by the beautiful Menominee River, which divides Wisconsin and the UP of Michigan. An island you can actually drive to. How about that? It's simply gorgeous there. Whether it's a romantic weekend for two, a golf weekend with the boys, or an adventure weekend for the entire family, Four Seasons Island Resort is a place to go. Book your getaway today at thefourseasonswi.com. That's thefourseasons, FOURWI.com, and make sure you tell them Bill Michaels sent you.
Bill Michaels will resume in 3 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 2 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 1 minute. Bill Michaels will resume in 30 seconds.
Welcome back to the program, The Bill Michaels Show. We are coming to you live from Turtleback Golf Course in Rice Lake, Wisconsin. Celebrity Golf Classic going on as we speak, and all the players are out on the course enjoying the day. It's a little bit warmer here today than it was yesterday, but still just absolutely beautiful. I've been here when we have had days that were in the mid to upper 90s with high humidity, and you just sweated to sweat. And then we were here a couple of years ago, and it was rainy, it was cold, it was nasty. And it's today is you don't ask for much better weather than this. It's almost picture perfect. So coming up a little bit later on in the program, we're going to hear from a lot of different folks. If you didn't get a chance to hear him in the first hour of the show, Wayne Laravey, the voice of the Green Bay Packers, was here. So you're going to hear from him, Lynn Dickey, and also coming up in a little bit, Dave Robinson. Packer linebacker, part of the Lombardi Packers group, NFL Hall of Famer. So Dave Robinson going to be here as well. 877-867-1670, 877-867-1670. If you want to hit us up, do so. Matt LaFleur going a little bit long today, so I don't think we're going to get him in this segment of the broadcast. Probably going to be coming up in the next hour. So let's do this. When we come back after the bottom of the hour, we are going to hear from Dave Robinson, the Packer Hall of Famer. We're going to talk with him a little bit and the conversation. And after the top of the hour, Lynn Dickey, a lot of fan favorites out there for Lynn Dickey that enjoyed watching him play, and he had some things to say too regarding this whole Rodgers situation from earlier today. You're going to hear that coming up in the next hour as well. Hey, reminder also about our great friends over at Skipper Bud's. On a hot day like this, you wouldn't mind heading out onto the lake, jumping in the water, enjoying yourself some water sports. You can check out their huge selection of yachts, pontoons, sport and deck boats, fishing boats. They've got it all. And yes, the best in power sports, water sports, when it comes to that. Cruisers, Four Winds, Mastercraft, Taiga. Get a hold of my buddy Todd. He is the general manager at the one in Pewaukee. And you can get a hold of him, 262-544-1200. That's 262-544-1200. and that is our friends at Skipper Buds. And this hour of the broadcast is brought to you locally by Stump Lake Liquor, Bait, Tackle, and Fireworks right here in Rice Lake, your local one-stop shop. All you got to do is put more life in your party and more party in your life. That is Stump Lake Liquor. And thanks to them for being a part of the I love meeting a lot of our local advertisers and all their affiliate stations. So I appreciate that when we get a chance to go into many of these communities and get a chance to see some of these people. Earlier today, Greg Breon from Breon Smokehouse Deli down in Cameron. Greg stopped by, and he's a longtime listener, introduced himself, and brought me some sub sandwiches, some smoked brisket, and just some cheese, authentic Wisconsin cheese curds. And man, I tell you what, Greg, I know you're listening. Thank you so much. It is spectacular. So, and this is a treat for me because I get a chance to come up here and get it. But for those of you that live here, how you're not all 1,200 pounds from eating that stuff, because man, I'd be going there every day. That's Breon Smokehouse Deli. Hey, Greg is such a good guy. Mark writes, hey, Bill, first of all, great show. Loved Harry Sidney's perspective. Because at some point, Aaron Rodgers is going to start digging into the pockets of those around him. Do you think that he loses his friends and his contacts in that locker room when they start to turn on him? That is a great question. It seems like players stick with players. They may have their own opinion, but players stick with players. So I don't think they're going to get into his business. But if you ask them behind closed doors, hey, you got a legitimate shot. This team is pretty well fortified. And you got a shot at postseason checks. You got a shot at maybe a Super Bowl check. You got a shot at maybe legacy when it comes to winning a championship. How would you feel if your quarterback, on principle for character and philosophy, for nothing more, did not return and was not traded away? Basically just said, if you don't want to play, don't play. And kind of leaves you hanging. It's not because of injury. It's not because of contract. It's not because of any of that. It's because he's mad. And I would guess to a man, I mean, just listening to former players, guys that have won Super Bowls, guys that have not won Super Bowls here, to a man, I think a lot of guys would be kind of miffed, saying you cost me an opportunity for a ring in immortality. The opportunity, not the guarantee, the opportunity. There's two different distinctions there. But I think that's a legitimate feeling. So a lot of insight up here in the last couple of days. I just find it extremely interesting. Let's do this. We're going to step away. We're going to get more perspective. And just, what does it mean to have HOF, after your name? So we're going to talk with Dave Robinson, the Hall of Famer, the Packer Hall of Famer, and the NFL Hall of Famer when we return. We're broadcasting live here in Rice Lake and at Turtleback Golf Course, which is just beautiful. No, by the way, for those that are asking, this is not the course that I got struck by lightning on. That was Wild Ridge, and that is in Eau Claire, Wisconsin. And we're going to be there later this year, as a matter of fact, for a cigar dinner. But nevertheless, this is not that course. So even if it is, it's, it's a memory. You look over and you go, oh, that's where that happened. I still got the shoes, by the way. Just enough. Maybe I should auction the shoes off at one point or another with the lightning bolt that came through the bottom of them. I still have the shoes. Stay tuned. We got more of the Bill Michaels Show right after this.
Covering Wisconsin sports like a blanket. This is the Bill Michaels Show on the Wisconsin Sports Zone Radio Network.
Bill Michaels will resume in 5 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 4 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 3 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 2 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 1 minute. Bill Michaels will resume in 30 seconds.
though.
Yeah, and the big thing was the highlight of my whole thing, this Hall of Fame thing. I went to Hall of Fame in 13, and I went and it was Super Bowl 48. They held it in New Jersey. I'm from New Jersey.
Yeah.
And my sister told me, said, it's on my bucket list to go to a Super Bowl game. And I never went to one. She said, I took my wife, I took my children, I never took my sister. So I said, I'll take you to one here in New Jersey. And she went with me. And that was probably, if I went back over 80 years, I'm 80 years old now, and think of all the good days I had, that day was the greatest, that weekend was the greatest I ever had.
That's awesome.
Oh, because I got there and I arranged for it. I got the tickets for it. I bought the tickets here, and we caught the train from her house up to the stadium. We got off the train, and a limo pick us up at the station. Drove her to. She's getting older, and so drove us to the stadium. She got out of the limo. They had a wheelchair to wheel her into the stadium. She goes in, and Mark Murphy, God bless his soul, he gave us 2 tickets to be in the Packer Loge. So I unloaded the tickets I'd bought. It was. I went to the Packer Loge, and she went there with me, and everything is all Green Bay Packers. What the Packer Loge laid out.
Yeah.
In fact, that was in 2013.
Yeah.
2014, I think it was. Whatever it was. My sister still has Green Bay Packers napkins.
Really?
She lifted all the napkins.
Oh my God.
She cleaned that Loge out, man. She cleaned that whole She had a big purse, and I said, I asked her, why you mean it's such a big purse? You'll see later on. On the way home, she opened up that purse, and she had everything that said Green Bay on it, man. Candles and everything, oh man. And she put them all around us. She still gets the Packer Plus sent to her house every week and everything.
That's great.
She's the big Packer fan.
That is great. That is great.
But more important, no matter how big she's a Packer fan, she's my only sibling, and I love her dearly, and I just do anything for her, and it just thrills me to know that she had a good time.
That's fantastic. Yeah. Well, it's good to see you, man. It's good to see you out here and still kicking, doing your thing.
At my age, it's good to wake up in the morning. If I wake up in the morning, this is a good day.
You know what? That's something, though, and not to end on a down note, but it was, we're sitting there last night at the sponsor dinner, and everybody's talking, and I'm talking to Lynn Dickey, and everybody's said, well, last time I saw you, it was at such and such's funeral, or this guy had passed away. We didn't get a chance to say goodbye to this guy during COVID. It's a little surreal when you start to see the guys around you start to go, you know.
They lose everybody, you know. Like Herb Barley died in October.
Yeah.
I think it was October 20th. He was one of my closest guys. He played right next to me. And I went to his memorial service, which was held May 1st.
Yeah.
They took that long because of COVID.
Right.
It was a great service, but
I mean,
right. It'd be nice to have a great service when I leave, but I just don't want to leave. I'm having a hell of a good time.
And
now,
if
man.
you do,
just
remember, if your sister's still kicking, she's taking everything home with her. She can have that big purse with her.
That's right. She can take everything, including my ashes. No, I want to be cremated, so she'll have the ashes.
There you go.
My son said, Dad, you're going to be cremated. He wants to take your ashes and spread them on Lambeau Field. I said, hell no. I said, I got blood in the field and everything. I don't want people tromping on me for the rest of my life. Unless eternity, run up and down the.
Right.
Don't put me in Lambeau Field. Put me anywhere.
That'd be the year they resod it and throw you out.
Throw me out anyway. That's right.
Dave, it's great seeing you, buddy.
Hey,
Appreciate
good to see
it.
you. Thank you.
All right, buddy.
All right, see you. Bye-bye.
There you go. Dave Robinson, the great Dave Robinson, Hall of Fame Dave Robinson, joining us here on the deck at Turtleback Golf Course here in Rice Lake. Great to talk to him. Great experience. Great laugh. And, hey, another great cause if you are in the other portions of the state of Wisconsin. And if you can check out our friends, one of our proud sponsors, the Water Doctors. They are based in Waukesha, Wisconsin, H2, the letter O, doctors.com. But they also support an incredibly special charity called Custom Canines. It's a service dog academy. And I've talked about this before, and there's so many people in the state that could use a service dog in some way, shape, or form, whether it's for PTSD or whether it's for the blind or whether it's for companionship in certain ways, dogs that can do things for those that are in need or disabled. And they train these dogs. The Custom Academy Canines Dog Academy, they train these dogs, and it costs about $25,000 per dog. And so our friends at the Water Doctors, very much lovers of canines, dog lovers big time. John Atlee, the owner over there at the Water Doctors, they put this together over on their website. If you go to H2, the letter O, like water, H2O, doctors, DOCTORS, H2Odoctors.com, you can make a donation. You can obviously see what it is they have to offer. And the Connecticut water softening system is something I swear by because, again, I have this in my home. It's absolutely amazing in many senses. In the case of not only doing your laundry and wash and all that kind of stuff, but just in the drinking water and keeping all the contaminants out of your home and out of your children, out of your dogs, out of your cats. So check them out for that. But also you can help them by supporting the Custom Canine Service Dog Academy. Again, go to h2theletterO-doctors.com. That's h2theletterO-doctors.com. We are broadcasting live here and enjoying ourselves immensely up on the deck here at Turtleback Golf Course in Rice Lake, Wisconsin. And we can't say thanks enough for everybody that brings us out on site. One of our big sponsors as well, Road, Track, and Trail, giving us the side-by-side that you're going to see pictures of starting tomorrow as we get into Road America. And we're going to be cruising around. I might even do a video on that thing tomorrow because it's just badass. But they are the world's largest provider and seller of power sports. So go to roadtrackandtrail.com. They're right here in Wisconsin, roadtrackandtrail.com, and see for yourself everything they have to offer. Stay tuned. We got more of the Bill Michaels Show coming up right after this.
Ready? This is the Bill Michaels Show on the Wisconsin Sports Zone Radio Network.
Bill Michaels will resume in 3 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 2 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 1 minute. Bill Michaels will resume in 30 seconds.
And Arca's racing there. Welcome back. Glad to have you. We're broadcasting live at Turtleback Golf Course here in Rice Lake, Wisconsin. Beautiful day, hazy, hot, and humid. That's the best way to put it. A little bit of a breeze, though. It's not bad. It's nice sitting out here on the deck. Really nice, as a matter of fact. 877-867-1670, 877-867-1670. You want to hit us up, feel free to do so. Coming up after the top of the hour, we got a lot. We're going to hear Matt LaFleur, the head coach of the Green Bay Packers, shutting it all down. This is the last time we're going to hear from him prior to the start of training camp. So we're going to want to take a listen as to what his expectations are, and if there are expectations for the Packers quarterback to be rolling through the door at any point in time, and that being Aaron Rodgers. So we're going to hear from Matt LaFleur coming up the next hour. We'll hear from Wayne Laravey, the voice of the Green Bay Packers, coming up in the next hour. We are going to hear from Lynn Dickey, former quarterback for the Green Bay Packers, coming up in the next hour. Tonight, you've got the Bucs are back at it, taking on the Brooklyn Nets. This time, though, at the Fiserv Forum. You got James Harden, who's going to go again. He's going to go up against Giannis and company, and Kevin Durant coming off of that massive, massive performance going back to Tuesday night. So can the Bucs figure it out that you got to attack Harden, you got to go after him, you got to play any semblance of defense on Kevin Durant, but more so than anything, shut down Green, for God's sakes, who at one point in the game the other night was 6 for 6 from beyond the arc, ended up 7 for 8 for the game. And then obviously stop the one-on-one basketball and be able to work their offense the way they did so brilliantly in the first half of that ball game. And if the Bucs can do that, and I believe they will, because I believe the blueprint is laid how to be able to score and how to be able to, and plus they're going to be more comfortable in the Fiserv Forum, but how to be able to score, how to be able to work your offense, and then what adjustments Steve Nash is going to have to make against what Budenholzer and the Milwaukee Bucks throughout there on the floor tonight. I think the Bucks are going to win. I'm going to say Giannis ends up with 28, but the Bucks win by 7. And so that's the prediction tonight. And do the Bucks gain enough confidence then to go back in to the Barclay and be able to get themselves a win? Also, I wanted to let you know the U.S. Open is underway, and we're going to be talking with Gary D'Amato, a golf writer, longtime golf writer for the Journal-Sentinel, because Patrick Rodgers, through 8, is your leader, tied with Russell Henley, Terrell Hatton, I should say, Matt Fitzpatrick, and Xander Schauffele, and Si-Woo Kim, all atop the leaderboard at different points in the course right now out in California. By the way, in California, La Jolla, California, 64 degrees right now. A little bit of a breeze. Some precipitation. It is better weather here in Rice Lake, Wisconsin than in La Jolla, California. Just thought I'd throw it out there. That's how nice we got it right now in this state. So that's the top of your leaderboard. You got others teeing off throughout the day, and we'll try to give you a little bit of an update. Brooks Koepka, by the way, a couple of shots off the pace. He is through 6 at 1 under par, and he's a guy that is very much in the running for this thing. Matt Kuchar, another one. Justin Thomas, another one. Jimmy Walker, another one. You've got a lot of these guys that are, capable of winning this tournament that are all sitting right there at even par or better. And a lot of guys that have just either gotten underway or will go off a little bit later on today. So that is kind of your update for the U.S. Open. The U.S. Open game. So you got Bucks basketball and playoff basketball. And then if the Bucks win tonight, which they will, you go back to the Barclays. You got the Brewers in Colorado. Packers wrapping up training camp. U.S. Open underway. And Road America, the Indy cars, come to town. We're going to have driver interviews. Graham Rahal is going to be joining us tomorrow, too. I'm excited about that. So Graham Rahal, among others, going to be joining us as they get ready for the Rev Group Grand Prix that's going to be roaring through Road America and Elkhart Lake, Wisconsin. So looking forward to all of that. All of that. Eric says, I got Bucks by double digits tonight. Nets throw in the towel and rest for Game 7. So there you go. I'm hoping you're right. That would be fantastic. We got 1 hour left to go. We are broadcasting live in Rice Lake, Wisconsin at Turtleback Golf Course, a hidden gem in the Northwoods, if you will. Beautiful up here, and the Rice Lake Celebrity Golf Tournament is well underway. Stay tuned. We got another hour of the Bill Michaels Show. It's coming up right after this.
This is a Wisconsin Sports Zone update.
Well, it's game day for the Bucks as they look to keep their season alive in Game 6 against the Nets. Milwaukee trails 3-2 after blowing a 17-point lead in Game 5 on Tuesday night. Coach Mike Budenholzer knows their back is up against the wall.
Everybody understands, it's 3-2. It's Game 6 at home. Our guys have responded always. I think the character, those types of things are the words that come to mind. But we got to find a way to play well, both ends of the court, play the right way, have the right mindset, right mentality, go out and compete, lay it on the line.
Milwaukee will have to see James Harden again. He played 40-plus minutes in Game 5 after missing most of the series with a hamstring injury. Kyrie Irving has already been ruled out. They sprained ankle, unlikely to play if the Bucks are able to force a Game 7. Tip tonight is set for 7:30 at Fiserv Forum. Turn to the Brewers. They have lost 3 straight for the first time since early May, following a 2-1 loss to Cincinnati yesterday. They will now hit the road for 7 games starting tonight in Colorado. Despite the losing streak, they remain in a tie with Chicago for first in the NL Central.
Want to save even more at Fleet Farm? Well, now you can with Fleet Rewards. It's free to sign up, and there's no credit card required. Using Fleet Rewards is easy. Earn points every time you shop. Plus, get exclusive member offers, birthday and anniversary perks, free tire rotations, and more. Download the Fleet Farm app or create an account at fleetfarm.com/rewards to start earning points today. Fleet Farm, proudly serving the Midwest since 1955.
Well, the Packers finished up their offseason program this week with the final round of OTAs. They are now off until training camp. Whether Aaron Rodgers shows up for that remains to be seen. Still at odds with the front office. Fox Sports' Jay Glazer said yesterday that Rodgers definitely still wants out of Green Bay, but the Packers remain committed to keeping him as their quarterback for 2021 and beyond. With this Wisconsin Sports Zone Network update, I'm Zach Heilprin.
Welcome back to the program. Final hour of the Bill Michaels Show. We are broadcasting live at Turtleback Golf Course. We are here in Rice Lake, and the Celebrity Golf Classic is underway, raising a lot of money for a lot of great charities here in not only Rice Lake, but in Barron County in general, and so many good people up here. And thanks to Tom Kozer and his radio group, Kozer Radio Group, that bring us up here each and every year. And thanks so much to them for having us here. By the way, last hour was brought to you locally by our friends at Stump Lake Liquor, Bait, Tackle, and Fireworks here in Rice Lake. And as they say, put more life in your party and more party in your life. Stump Lake Liquor. This hour brought to you by our good friends at Noble's Tire Service, your local Goodyear tire dealer in Barron and in New Richmond, home of the round tires, which are always a good thing to have in your vehicle. Otherwise, you're back into the Flintstones, and it's never a good thing there. Let's do this because we got a lot to jam pack into this final hour of the show. A lot going on. We are going to hear from the voice of the Packers, Wayne Laravey, in a little bit. We're going to hear from Lynn Dickey, former quarterback for the Green Bay Packers, here in a little bit. Gary D'Amato, a long-time golf writer for the Journal-Sentinel as the U.S. Open is underway. So we got a lot going on this hour, but we're going to kick things off, shutting it down until everybody returns late July for training camp. Matt LaFleur, his final presser, and everything that's going on with this Green Bay Packers team. Intriguing minds want to know. Here's Matt LaFleur. This just ended about 10 minutes ago, so we're going to take a listen to it as much as we can of Matt LaFleur's final presser from minicamp.
Normally you're practicing now. Did you rearrange this last day, or what's the story? And then I guess what's up next over these next 6 weeks?
Yeah, we cut it a little bit short just with our morning schedule, with our meetings. We just felt like the guys have done such a great job, and kind of wanted to throw them a bone and get them out of here a little bit earlier. I know some of these guys have travel plans and whatnot. So just really pleased with the effort, the energy, the focus, especially, going into the last day. You always kind of worry about that as a coach, but our guys, they were ready to work today.
Hey, Matt, hope you and your family get some time away here before camp and you can enjoy that. I know some of the 6 weeks you're going to be working on your plan for training camp. Do you need to have 2 separate plans for camp? One if Aaron's here, one if he's not? And if it's not, how do you incorporate the guys that you may have to get ready as a backup job? Because we obviously saw Jordan take the bulk of reps here during the offseason stuff.
No, we'll have one plan. We've kind of pretty much laid that out. Just going to fine tune some things over the next few weeks and just in terms of the logistics of our schedule and whatnot. But we've got what we feel is a pretty good blueprint in terms of how to get our guys ready to play. Obviously, it is a little bit different this year in terms of the number of preseason games, and then you compare it to last year, so you're kind of leaning back on the 2019 season. But we feel confident with what we'll have in place with the guys, and we'll look forward to getting them back July 27th.
I was just wondering what your initial impressions were from this mini camp and OTAs of Eric Stokes. And I know when we talked to Eric this week, he was talking about just the attention he saw with Jair and trying to kind of pick his brain a little bit during the mandatory mini camp when the vets were here. Did you kind of sense that with his interactions with the older players, Kevin, Jair? Did you kind of see that, and just what your impressions were of Eric?
Yeah, I thought Eric, and he's got an infectious personality, just great energy, and we knew that kind of coming out. Goody and his staff did a great job of scouting and finding out about the person, and he came out with rave reviews, and he's as advertised, and just really love just the detail that he puts into it. I think, again, Jerry Gray, Ryan Downer do a great job with him, but I also think that room, just the leadership of that room, when you have Jair, Kevin King, Adrian Amos, Darnell Savage, Shannon Sullivan, all those guys working together with these younger players. There's nothing better for a coach than when you go to a drill and you're watching these older vets coaching the young guys. I think that a lot of times they'll pay more attention to when their teammates are coaching them than they will the coaches at times. So just really impressed with his work ethic and who he is as a person, and just excited about his future.
Hey, Matt, now that the offseason program, you've gone through the whole thing, where do you feel the defense is in a general sense in terms of learning Joe's system and what he's asking them to do?
Well, I think the foundation's been laid. I think our guys did a nice job of picking it up as quickly as possible. There are some similarities to what we've done in the past. I think Joe's done a nice job of incorporating like terms, so it's not a totally new system for our guys. And I think our assistant coaches have done a great job of just knowing the ins and outs and the details, and being able to convey that and communicate that to our players, because ultimately they're the ones that make the thing go, and they've got to know the details, and they've got to be able to communicate and know the adjustments in order for us to be at our best. But really excited about where it could go, but we'll find out week one. You got to go out there and earn it each and every week, and there's a long time between now and then, and a lot can happen. So, but I think that we've laid a great foundation for them to come back into training camp and really build upon what we've done this offseason.
Coach, what's your message to Jordan as he leaves for this kind of break here, and not knowing if he's coming back the starter or if he's coming back to back up the MVP?
It's the same message it's been all the time. You're only one play away, so you always have to prepare like you're the starter, and just to be very intentional about the work that you put in to go out there with a purpose, to be mindful and in the moment. Every rep for him is so critical, whether it's on air on his own or it's with us in 11-on-11 situation, and he's getting that constant coaching. And I think he's done a great job of embracing just the whole situation, embracing learning from every rep. One thing we talked about, after Tuesday's practice is, hey man, you're going to have some great days, and then you're going to have some days that aren't as great. And you got to be able to ride that wave. You're never too high, you're never too low, and just making sure that you learn from each and every rep. And I think he's done a really good job of that.
Hey man, I kind of want to stay along that line, with Jordan. Just, he had exponentially more work, this past month than he probably has since he's gotten here. Just how do you think he handled it? And can you also speak to how the other quarterbacks fared that are all new to your system?
Yeah, I think, like I just talked about, I think Jordan came in with the right mindset. And, I think Luke Getsy and Hackett have done a great job just getting him prepared. And ultimately it's going to be just, how do you take, the classroom to individual to the team drills, and then, get in the opportunity to go out there in the preseason and show what he can do. But I think the other guys in terms of just their knowledge have really been into it. It is a little bit more difficult when you're not getting many reps, and you just got to make the most out of every opportunity when you get those. And I do think that guys have done a great job of being prepared for those moments.
Hey, Matt, there's both good and bad going into this training camp, right? The good is you actually had an off-season program to get ready for it. And the bad is the uncertainty at quarterback. What are the challenges that the uncertainty at quarterback create for you as you get ready for camp? And how much does it help to have an off-season to get you ready for camp?
Well, I think the off-season's critical for all these players, especially the young guys. But, even our veterans, we got a new defensive system going in. We got a new special team system going in. So just to learn and kind of lay the foundation for training camp. But, we're excited about a training camp. We're excited about this football team. I think the character of this team is really high. I think, the challenge is, can you recreate that magic that, we've been able to the last couple of years and become a close-knit, connected team with great player leadership. And, but no, we're excited about just what the future could hold. And, you just got to take it day by day in terms of everything else that's going out there and control the things that you can control. And that's, the attitude, how you prepare, and the effort that you give on a daily basis.
Matt, by the end of last season, I thought the Buccaneers defensive line really had some dominating performances. In the year before, the 49ers, the Chiefs came up with big plays on their defensive line to win the Super Bowl. So what are the thoughts that you and Joe have on what you can do to help Kenny on your defensive line headed into this year?
Yeah, I think anytime you have a great pass rush, it definitely, it takes a lot of pressure off a lot of people, everybody on the second level and on the third level, because, you don't have to cover quite as long. But, I think we've got a great scheme in place. I think our coaches do a great job of communicating what we want to get done. And, we'll try to be creative in terms of try to get the matchups that we'd like to present to the guys and how we want to attack the opponents. So we feel like we've got a lot of great players up front, not only on the interior line, but on the edges. And you can't have enough of those guys, because I think when those guys are flying off the ball and giving great effort, I think you got to be able to rotate those guys. It's hard for a player to go out there and especially in that position and give you 70 snaps or whatever it may be that are where they're flying 100 miles an hour. I think that's a little unrealistic, and that's what you want. That's the energy, that's the effort that you want from that position, because they can create a lot of havoc for an offense. So the more we can build up just the people around those guys, and the more we can rotate players, I think the better off we'll be.
Hey, Matt, this is going to come across as snarky, and I don't mean it that way, honestly. I totally understand.
Don't ask it, Bill.
I totally understand why Jordan took as many reps as he did. That's perfectly logical. So what's the point of having all these other quarterbacks if they're not going to actually get snaps or many snaps?
I think there's so many more components than just the 11 on 11 team drills or the 7-on-7s. It's you're throwing routes on air, and as good as I'd like to think I could throw the ball, or Luke Getsy can throw the ball, you want NFL quarterbacks throwing those to the receivers, backs, whoever it may be. So you need those arms. And I'm sure, like, as we get closer to training camp and, things could become a little bit more clear for us, we potentially could make an adjustment there. But you're right. It is tough to get 4 quarterbacks the reps that they need. So that's why when they get those opportunities to go in there and play, they got to take advantage of them, and they got to be ready.
Coach, after the draft, you had a very candid moment, which I, for one, greatly appreciated, when you said you never really know about your draft class, right? You look at the tape, you look at their cut-ups, whatever, but you don't really know until you see them against NFL competition. Now, obviously, you've had an off-season program, but they're still in shorts. Mm-hmm. Is it hard to temper your expectations and excitement about maybe what your rookie class could contribute until you see them in pads.
Yeah, I think, yeah, absolutely, Aaron. We're excited about them, certainly. And you get more excited when you get around them and you get to know their personality and just how they compete and the work that they put in. You couldn't ask for better guys, but ultimately it's how it translates to the field, how it translates in those preseason games and then making most of their opportunities. But it's our job as coaches to try to put these guys in the best position possible. And then they got to go out there and execute. But we are, excited. But again, like you said, you have to temper those expectations to some degree.
I know he didn't get a ton of 11 on 11 reps, but it looked like you might have something in Kurt Benkert. I'm not a QB guru like you are. What do you think you might have there?
Yeah, I know Kurt, had a couple years in the league now in Atlanta, and he can really throw the football. But it's going to come down again to being able to do that in the preseason games to really show us what he can do and what he's capable of. But love the guy. He's just been a sponge in that room. Always asks great questions, and I think that he's definitely has a chance to show what he can do this preseason.
All right. There you go. That was the head coach, Matt LaFleur. Interesting opening comment. And when we come back, we're also going to hear from the voice of the Green Bay Packers. In case you missed it in the first hour of the program, Wayne Laravey stopped by a little while ago. I want to say thanks to our guys at Burn Pit Barbecue. Go to burnpitbbq.com. They are going to be with us this weekend as we host our first big party with all the listeners, and we're going to enjoy some of the Burn Pit Barbecue and barbecue sauce and all their items that they have. And I encourage you, they are veteran-owned. They are 1 year in business here in the state of Wisconsin, and they're looking to expand and continue to grow. Again, go to burnpitbbq.com. That is burnpitbbq.com. And you can't be any more supportive of two great guys that are veterans as well that started a business right here in the state of Wisconsin. Also, thanks to our friends at Robert Specialty Meats, Paul Robert and his staff over there in Waukesha. They are fantastic, supplying 40 pounds of ribs on their famous ribs on a stick. Go to Robert's Specialty Meats, Waukesha.com to see everything that they have to offer your hometown butcher. That is Robert's Specialty Meats, Waukesha.com. When we come back, you're going to want to, we could break this comment down all damn day, but you're going to want to hear the opening statement by Matt LaFleur. What do you make of it? And then the voice of the Green Bay Packers, Wayne Laravey. That is next on the Bill Michaels Show.
This is the Bill Michaels Show on the Wisconsin Sports Zone Radio Network.
Bill Michaels will resume in 3 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 2 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 1 minute. Bill Michaels will resume in 30 seconds.
The guys, and we'll look forward to getting them back July 27th.
So the question was, do you have to have numerous plans with Aaron Rodgers or without him? And he's like, no, we got one plan, and we look forward to getting him back on the 27th. Now, was he talking about getting the guys back, getting them back, meaning them, the players? Or the question was, do you think Aaron Rodgers is coming back? We look forward to getting him back on the 27th. There it is. That's now we've got consternation. Now we've got analyzation, overanalyzation, breaking it down. Personally, I thought the discussion was, yeah, we got one blueprint. We got one thing we're going to do. We're going to concentrate on and getting better. And we looking forward to getting them back, meaning getting the guys back on the 27th. But I don't know. It's a little shade. It's a little slip of the tongue, if you will. It was an interesting comment that set a lot of Twitter-ish on fire. So, and some people extremely hopeful that that's what he meant, that Aaron Rodgers was indeed returning to the Green Bay Packers. So let's play it again real quick before we get into the interview with Wayne Laravey. So the question was to Matt LaFleur. Matt, do you have one plan in place, or do you have to plan twice for training camp, one for Aaron Rodgers or one for Jordan Love, or what are you thinking? And this was his response.
We've got what we feel is a pretty good blueprint in terms of how to get our guys ready to play. Obviously, it is a little bit different this year in terms of the number of preseason games, and then you compare it to last year, so you're kind of leaning back on the 2019 season. But we feel confident with what we'll have in place with the guys, and we'll look forward to getting them back July 27th.
You tell me. What do you think that specific comment meant? Earlier today, had a chance to sit down and chat with the voice of the Green Bay Packers. For many of you on the network, I didn't get a chance to hear the first hour of this show, so we wanted to bring it back. And Wayne and I, longtime friends, and great to have him up here on the deck here at Turtleback Golf Course in Rice Lake, Wisconsin. Here's the conversation with the voice of the Packers, Wayne Laravey, and yours truly.
I think I'm going to be optimistic about this, and I always hate it when I'm optimistic because I'm usually wrong. Because I'm such a realist. You and I
are swimming upstream, my friend.
I am such a realist. My wife says, no, you're not a realist. You're a negative person. So, but no, I think he will be. I think when it's all said and done, there's just too much here for between Aaron, his coaches, his teammates. Front offices come and go. Your legacy is forever. Yeah. And, I think that in the end, hopefully that'll be what it's all about. And I don't think this thing is about money, and I don't think it's about any one person, and it's not about any one thing, which makes it hard to figure out. And the fact is they've been trying to get this resolved for months now, and the fact that it hasn't been is the only area where I have some doubt.
So there you go. That was Wayne Laravey. The final comment, as we had discussed specifically Aaron Rodgers. So that's his thought on the Rodgers situation. But the entire interview, the entire sit-down conversation, here's Wayne and I.
And, so we've known each other since then. Been a long way.
Think about when we came in, it was you and I. Bo Ryan had taken over UWM.
Yep.
Tom Crean took over Marquette.
Yeah.
Ray Rhodes took over the Green Bay Packers. I mean, there was so much change going on
I
at
know.
the time.
Yeah, it really was. And, but, you know, it's been great. We've had a great run. The Packers have had an incredible run of sustained success, you know, and it's fun when you're in a market where you're covering teams that are relevant. You know what I mean?
Right.
And even today, obviously, the Bucks are very relevant, and so are the Brewers and the Packers, obviously, at the top of the news with the Aaron Rodgers situation. But, you know, it's nice to be able to do that, to cover teams that are relevant.
So we'll dive in. You brought up Aaron. A lot of talk last night. It seems like that's on the front of everybody's tongue, even if you're a former Packer, former Viking, whatever. I keep asking the question, what is the end game here? And no one seems to know.
Yeah, I cannot embellish any more than what you just said. There are a lot of opinions on this. There's a lot of reporting going on, some of which is not good reporting, but you know, there's some credible people, Charles Robinson, Adam Schefter, you know, there's some really good people who've been on top of this story, but no one's really gotten at the crux of exactly what this is. And the more you look at it from the outside in, you think, well, maybe it's a compilation, as everybody seems to be alluding to, but nobody is talking specifics, not the Packers and not Aaron Rodgers. So until we get specifics, it's hard to get a handle on. We have all got hopes, and it's certainly hopes, but everybody's got an opinion on it, but nobody really knows the basic.
One of the things that you and I talked about last night was legacy, and I'm only going to give you my perspective, and you can expound upon it as much as you want. But early on, Aaron Rodgers, in an interview that I did with him, he said that eventually he wants to be the most decorated quarterback in Green Bay Packer history. He wants to have as many Super Bowls, either as Bart Starr or more, and this was early on. And obviously wants to be, because if he wins two, he's got more than Brett Favre. Mm-hmm. And then obviously he wanted to be statistically as good as any quarterback that's ever played the game. But he wants to do it with, he's always fought to remain with the Green Bay Packers up until this point. If it ends up being an exodus, I got to think to myself that at some point, something in his mind has said, I don't care about my legacy in Green Bay. I care about X, and I don't. This is, unless he comes back. The overall picture, money, contracts, all that other crap. Whoever they drafted, it doesn't matter. This is the end of your legacy, and I can't imagine that this is what he wants.
Yeah, you know, and you and I talked about this, and you know, I mean, that's kind of the point that, and I know Aaron pretty well, and you know, I covered his. I was doing the telecast for his first start as a collegiate at Cal, and they were playing down at Illinois, and he was terrific. But so I've known him really since then, since the draft. We got to know each other after the draft, and I mentioned that story to him. And we've been, you know, we talk every week usually during the regular season, and he's a highly principled individual. He reminds me so much of my youngest son. There's a moral compass to some people that is much greater than anything you and I or anyone else is really, and in that regard, there's a depth to them, to people like that, that is really admirable on one hand, but on the other hand, it's hard for the rest of us to kind of live up to that standard sometimes. But you know, with Aaron, that's the thing, legacy. You know, all the money in the world, you can argue he's the greatest pure quarterback, you know, that the game has seen. And everyone will say, well, he doesn't have the Super Bowls. Well, give him Tom Brady's defenses over the years, and he'll have just as many Super Bowl wins as Tom Brady, and probably wouldn't have lost those 2 games to the Giants that Brady did in the Super Bowl. All right, so that's not been the case. When he's had good defenses, Aaron Rodgers has been great. But, you know, that's the thing. You sit there and say, okay, Brett Favre, as beloved as he is, Bill, and as many people have, you know, forgiven the divorce and all that other stuff that happened in 2008, that's always going to be a part of his legacy, okay? That kind of forcing his way out of Green Bay, that type of thing. You know, if you're Aaron Rodgers, gosh, I would think you don't want that on your legacy. You just don't. Yeah. You know, that's not the way. That's not what you want. I don't think it shouldn't be what you want. And I would hope that when it gets down to the end here, that Aaron says, "Hey, listen, my legacy and what I'm doing in Green Bay is more important. You know, he comes back to the Packers. I'm telling you, I don't know who's going to beat him out in the next several years. You know what I mean?
Right.
And I understand the timetable on the rookie quarterback, the second-year quarterback now. And poor Jordan Love, he's asked for none of this.
Yeah.
And, you know, so I think that, you know, but Aaron Rodgers, if he comes back, he can script his end point in Green Bay. I think he can, you know, because I don't think anyone's going to beat him out in the near future. And I don't think the coaching staff or the front office will, you know, make the decision, well, it's just time for Jordan Love. So as good as Aaron Rodgers is, we're going in that direction.
Right.
I don't think that's going to happen. I really don't. If Aaron comes back, I think he gets a call, a shot down the stretch in the way he wants to end his career. But obviously, when you look at it from the outside looking in, including a friend of ours, Andrew Brandt, has always maintained they're going to trade him after this coming season anyway, you know, and I don't think that's I don't buy that. I don't see that happening.
Welcome back, and that was Wayne Laravey from a little bit earlier today. And if you want to hear the entire, interview, if you will, you can always catch it on my YouTube channel. Go to youtube.com/Bill Michaels. You can always find it over there. Find it at thebillmichaels.com. You can listen to it on the Odyssey app as well. When we come back, we're going to talk some golf. U.S. Open underway. We're going to talk with Gary D'Amato, longtime golf writer for the Journal-Sentinel. And then after that, to wrap things up from up here at Turtleback today, you're going to hear from Lynn Dickey, the former Green Bay Packer as well. So a lot coming up. We got a couple more segments to go before we get out of here. Stay tuned. We got more of the Bill Michaels Show is next.
Covering Wisconsin sports like a blanket, this is the Bill Michaels Show on the Wisconsin Sports Zone Radio Network.
Bill Michaels will resume in 5 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 4 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 3 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 2 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 1 minute. Bill Michaels will resume in 30 seconds.
Welcome back to the program. We are broadcasting live. We're at Turtleback Golf Course. We are in Rice Lake, and it's the Celebrity Golf Classic up here, and just so many good people on hand, and they raise so much money here in Barron County for so many of the children's charities, which is, it's just a fantastic, fantastic cause, and just honored to be here. 6 years in a row. I look forward to 7 next year, and it's always a great time. Been a great array of guests today, a lot of conversation today about the Packers, about Rodgers. Coming up later on tonight, you got the Bucs Game 6 against the Brooklyn Nets. And can the Bucs figure it out back at the Fiserv Forum? 7:30 is the tip time, Central Time on TNT. You can watch it, and now you just kind of wait and see if the Bucs are able to master what they screwed up the other night. In the meantime, it's not often that I say, hey, California has worse weather than Rice Lake, Wisconsin. But right now out in La Jolla, California, you've got the defending champion Bryson DeChambeau in the U.S. Open at 64 degrees with some rain out there, or at least I should say some winds. But nothing terrible. It's like easy winds, southwest, 3 miles an hour, gusting up to 5. Not a whole lot else going on, but better weather here in our own backyard. And to join us to talk a little golf, long time golf writer throughout the state of Wisconsin, our good buddy Gary D'Amato. Gary, how you been?
I've been well, Bill. How about you?
I am doing wonderfully. So how are you liking the format of a major each month of the summer? I know it takes away from what we can possibly host here in Wisconsin, but how are you liking the way things are formatted out right now?
I love it. I mean, the Masters in March or April, and then followed by the PGA that Phil Mickelson put on an amazing show down there at Kiawah Island. And then we jump into the U.S. Open and the British Open. I think it's cool to have one a month, and I think it's good for golf.
One of the things we have not really talked a lot about is the Ryder Cup coming to Whistling Straits. And I know it's all going to ramp up here as we get closer to this, but what level of excitement, I mean, as a golf writer, this has got to be almost a bucket list dream to have this in your own backyard.
Yeah, it's kind of like having a Super Bowl at Lambeau, right? Yeah,
right.
It is. It's I've been waiting for this. I think they announced it in 2005 when Kozer signed that big deal with the PGA to host a bunch of PGAs and a Ryder Cup. So it's been, 15 years in the making, and now an extra year because of COVID. So I am looking forward to it, though.
Hey, right now, no Tiger, obviously. So we have to focus on other things. And Bryson DeChambeau, the ability to just crush a golf ball like we haven't seen in almost forever. Then you got him and Brooks Koepka, a little bit of a a back and forth between those two. You've obviously got the match coming up. I mean, while Tiger Woods is a huge, huge, huge draw, it doesn't seem like golf has missed him a ton.
I think, I would agree with you. I think golf's missed him, but I think the Koepka, Bryson DeChambeau thing, whether it's, how serious those guys are about not liking each other, or whether they're doing it to get a piece of that PGA Tour pie, that $40 million incentive that they have for they call it the Player Impact Program. And that was basically built to keep guys from fleeing to that Premier Golf League, the league that some guys in Europe and Dubai are trying to start. But yeah, I think golf's in a good place, and I think a lot of people are paying attention. There's some good young players coming up, and there's always reasons to tune in and watch, especially a U.S. Open.
So again, we're talking U.S. Open, talking with Gary D'Amato, longtime golf writer. Talk about the U.S. Open right now. You've got Tommy Fleetwood, Brooks Koepka climbs to the top of the leaderboard, even though he's only through 9. Xander Schauffele is up there as well. John Rahm is back after testing through contact tracing, some weird form of COVID that now is gone, and he is back. Tell me who you think's got the inside edge of this U.S. Open.
Well, when I look at the U.S. Open in recent years anyway, Brooks Koepka's won 2 of them. Bryson DeChambeau has won 1. It seems like Dustin Johnson's won a U.S. Open. It seems like the guys who bomb it are the guys you want to pick now in U.S. Opens. That didn't used to be the case. But Bryson DeChambeau and Brooks Koepka have figured out a new way to attack U.S. Open courses by hitting it as far and as hard as they can, and then hacking a wedge out of the rough if they miss a fairway. So I look for one of the big hitters to win a U.S. Open this week.
The course itself, obviously beautiful. Another trip out to California. But is this course favorable to one or the other? Because like you said, if they can just grip it and rip it, a lot of guys are doing that. But some courses, as we know, are more finesse. You can't just out-muscle a course, because even though they're building these courses longer and they're putting guys way at the tips and playing 7,300 plus yards, some of these courses you just can't muscle up on.
No, you're right. And this Torrey Pines in particular has Kikuyu rough, which is a real thick strain of real thick-bladed, hard rough to get out of. But you look at the last U.S. Open held there, Tiger Woods won, and he was a bomber, and always has been a bomber. So I still think the guy who hits it long, as long as he can hit it semi-straight, has a huge advantage.
Also, you had mentioned going back to Phil Mickelson, how I think the world was watching when Phil won the Masters, right?
The Masters, and you're talking about the PGA?
Or the PGA Championship. I'm sorry, PGA Championship, yes.
Yeah. The world was watching when he won the Masters, too. But, yeah, you're right. I think everyone was on the edge of their seats. Old golfers everywhere were saying, this is so cool because a 50-year-old guy is going to win a major championship. And I think, Phil isn't quite Tiger as far as terms of, what he draws to the game, the attention, but he's pretty darn close, especially now that he's winning a major at his age.
Winning it and being the oldest major champion by a couple of shots over Brooks Koepka, the fact that he beat kind of the new guard, so to speak, and you say it gives hope to some of the older golfers that are out there. Just last week, you see Jerry Kelly, obviously Steve Stricker, and Freddie Couples were battling it out a couple of weeks ago on the Champions Tour. There's still, by a lot of the old guard, there's still a lot of good golf out there, isn't there?
Well, they keep their, 40 or 50 years ago, by the time you hit 50, you were basically, unless your name was Sam Snead, you were washed up as a golfer. But now these guys, there's so much incentive to keep yourself in shape because there's so much money out there, money on the Champions Tour. So these guys are taking care of themselves, and equipment has helped a great deal. So, some of these guys on the Champions Tour are as long off the tee as they were when they were 35 years old, and now they're 55 and still hitting it, 300 yards. So a lot of reasons, mostly green, to keep your game in shape.
Hey, Gary, I was thinking of you when they pulled John Rahm off the course, and not only did they pull him off the course, but they also pulled about $1.6 million at that time out of his pocket. That's a hard pill to swallow, man. Did the USGA, did the PGA, did they do the right thing in this particular case, or did they overreact?
I think they have protocols and rules, and they've stuck by them through thick and thin. They set these rules a year ago now, more than a year ago. And everyone knows the rules. You can. I don't care what people's position is on the vaccine. No matter what it is, if John Rahm had been vaccinated, this wouldn't happen. So, in a way, you could say it's his fault because he certainly knew that if he ever tested positive, no matter what time he tested positive, he was going to be out of that week's tournament and maybe longer. So he knew, and he chose not to get vaccinated, I guess.
Yeah, no doubt. Gary, it's always great to talk to you. I know you're a busy man, but I'm glad you gave us a little bit of a breakdown of the U.S. Open. We'll touch base again as we get later into the golf season. You got the British and then obviously the Ryder Cup, and we'll keep in touch, okay?
Sounds good, my friend. Thanks.
Thanks, pal. Talk to you soon. Gary D'Amato, longtime golf writer here in the state of Wisconsin, joining us for a couple of minutes. And the U.S. Open well underway. You've got to the leaderboard. Brooks Koepka has now another birdie through 9. He is at 3 under par. He is your leader atop the leaderboard. Patrick Rogers, Tommy Fleetwood, Russell Henley, Xander Schauffele, Siwoo Kim, Adam Hadwin right now, all only one shot back, and a whole host of others just getting back out onto the course. So that is your leader as the U.S. Open is now underway out in La Jolla, California. And what we'll do is we're going to step away, take a quick break. When we come back, let me give you a little sample as to what you're about to hear from our good friend, Lynn Dickey, former quarterback for the Green Bay Packers. Take a listen.
Well, still, it doesn't matter who you're talking about. Your job is to go play.
Yeah.
Big difference in Brady leaving Patriots and going to Tampa. His contract was out.
Right.
Aaron's got 2 years to go on his contract.
Yeah.
And if he doesn't want to play, I would bet lots of money that he's just going to sit there. Because at turning 38 this year, there aren't many people going to come give you 2 1s and 2 2s.
Yeah.
And deplete their whole team for maybe 1 or 2 years out of the quarterback. If he were 26 or 7, that's a different deal. But he's not. And would he help any team? Absolutely. No denying. I think he's right there at 1-2 in the league with Patrick Mahomes from Kansas City. I don't know. I just shake my head, and lots of people, of course, ask me about this situation, and I go, I don't know. I would never have the nerve or the gall to question any management decision.
Yeah.
I just wouldn't ever do it.
There you go. That's Lynn Dickey. We're going to hear from him coming up next on the Bill Michaels Show.
Covering Wisconsin sports like a blanket. This is the Bill Michaels Show on the Wisconsin Sports Zone Radio Network.
Bill Michaels will resume in 3 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 2 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 1 minute. Bill Michaels will resume in 30 seconds.
Welcome back to the program, the Bill Michaels Show, broadcasting live here at Turtleback Golf Course in Rice Lake, Wisconsin. We are glad you are with us. And one of the guys we had the honor of having up here on the deck a little while ago, first hour of the program, for those that missed it, was our good friend Lynn Dickey, quarterback, former quarterback of the Green Bay Packers. And here's our conversation. Here at the table, the original number 12.